Oh, and more broadly speaking, if there's something we can all agree on, regardless of later plans, we do need to capture the Primarch first, right?
We need to capture him, and let's just clarify that we need to capture him alive.
Well, obviously, yeah. Ideally,
you say obviously.
So probably worth clarifying. I do have a slight solution to that. Is that my Havoc guys do most of them have earthquake guns and graviton cannons, and they do have an ability to pin a ginormous target, and it has to make a -40 strength test. Or take
that might be useful as part of the capture. So accidentally giga-murder him with 1 million grav guns.
Also,
yeah, exactly. I have like 2 squads just pin him, and I mean, there's no way that even a Primarch, I think, could withstand,
it depends.
If you can get enough on him and you've got a clear enough shot, they're big ifs, but they're not insurmountable ifs.
Yeah. So the thing else was actually if we need to trap him, I'm not sure how fast our sublight speed is, but if there's a moon or something else that has solid ground around, obviously right now his Lyman's ear is the first time he's like, yay, I'm all free! If we can land the ship on a planet, it'll inconvenience him a lot more than it'll inconvenience us.
Are these ships designed to go into atmosphere? They did once before, I suppose, didn't they?
Generally, but you can, even a very large ship, you can generally land if you have to. That said, you will note that your ship has been reinforced quite heavily along the bottom. It has a number of docking spires, there's the pectoral cargo fin, and like a load of buttressing around your Medicaid lister and life sustainers, which are themselves like additional modules added on or, welded in. So yes, you can in theory. In practice, taking off again might be difficult, as there's a decent chance you'll grind off like half of your oxygen.
I mean, we are still above the ocean planet as well, right? So
you're above the ocean planet. I can give you a better shot. Yes, I mean, it's going to be... You can find a bit that's deep enough. Your ship's not that tall.
Going back to the... Float?
He's like landing in the shallows.
It would be deeply funny if you Subnautica yourselves, because the fleet's here, right? There's no way you'd drown. You'd be fine. But if you lost your ship...
I'm just imagining now the Primarch, when he finally gets his brain back, suddenly realizes, you put the flagship where? I have to go back down there and swim in that ocean once again to fix your mistake.
Yeah, fun fact, deep water pressure is stronger than the vacuum of space.
Yeah, that's the Futurama joke, right? Is how many atmospheres is this spaceship rated for? Well, it's a spaceship, so anywhere between 0 and 1.
Yeah.
Going back to the point earlier, if we all agree we need to capture the Primarch at the very least before we execute our various splintering plans, how?
Now,
how capture?
I will point out, we can try feeding him brains before capturing him.
But how? How do you force feed a Primarch that doesn't want to eat brains? Because he's not going to do it with like an airplane noise. He ain't eating that.
He doesn't know their brains. He's never met humans.
It's just flesh to him. It's like, yeah, I can eat that, so he'll eat it. Hopefully,
it feels like.
If you have to force feed him, then okay, yes, do that later on. But it doesn't hurt trying to feed brains before capturing.
So my issue isn't trying to feed him brains and him not knowing what brains are. It's the how you feed part. I feel like that how you feed part comes after the we capture him part, because any way we can force him to feed. Or
I'm going to come in here with what I hope is helpful, somewhat at least, and suggest that I strongly suspect what young Nicholas is imagining is just leaving brains in every conceivable air vent in the area he's in, on the assumption that he's got to eat one of them, is where I assume he was going with that. I'm not approving of it, but that's...
I mean, that's a good idea. It's viable, sort of. At big junctions in the vents.
I think you're going that way as well, but also I don't know if we have enough brains for that. I
was going to say we go brain path. How many brains do we feasibly have? First, Nick, how many brains in storage do you personally own before we go for fresh ones?
I think those are in great eating state.
Yeah, they're few viable brains. And most of the brains I have aren't marine brains.
Okay, so from the start, we'd need fresh marine brains.
We do have some.
We have astropath brains, which could be a bit dangerous.
You have a phenomenal amount of brains if you want them. I'm not encouraging this, but this ship alone has a registered crew of around 110,000.
Yeah.
You have the rest of the fleet. You have a lot of ratings that, in a pinch, you can execute and take the brains off.
We should probably first of all use any of the Marines that are hurt or killed in the if they met the Primarch on the way to the Astropathic Coayah, or the ones in the conveyor way. Excluding me, I am fine, and I will not have my brain scooped out to feed to the Primarch. I am fine.
Did that one register?
We
right
have
at the
just-
end?
Sorry, we have just gone through major losses during the Moribund campaign. We have not yet rebuilt our strength. I am not going to throw away large portions of my legion feeding brains to a madman.
So we don't.
Alright.
There are already dead Marines. That's
There
the
are
thing.
already
We
dead
can use
Marines,
their
yeah.
brains. The dead
Yeah.
Marines we can still use.
I
Also-
don't remember there being dead Marines.
I feel like-
There were dead civilians.
So I don't think there are any dead Marines in the Astropathic Coayah, but I
Oh, okay.
thought there are a few in the conveyor way that encountered him and he just bowled through. I
believe that was auto carriages and ratings and such. You could probably, if you send some Marines after him with insufficient prep, you could probably produce some dead Marines pretty quickly. It might be a tad, dishonorable for your feeding your battle brothers to their gene father.
I'm not feeding my Marines to King Lunatic.
So I'm thinking in 2 squads of Havoc with graviton cannons, and they use focus beams to try and pin him, and then put him in a stasis cage, and then can you control which part of a person is stasis in the stasis cage?
No, I think it's an on-off.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can always put him in stasis, and then
Is he conscious in the stasis cage?
No.
Also, we don't have a big enough stasis cage.
Yeah, you probably don't. You
That's
might
been pointed out.
you might be able to have your Mechanicum last jury rig something. I think you ordered a stasis cage for Lawnley even, but you haven't told her make a big boy stasis cage.
Yeah.
Is the status cage like an automatically, it's on, you're in status, and as soon as it's off, you're out of status? Or is it like a groggy waking up bit?
I think it's on off.
On-off, yeah. So from the perspective of the person in stasis, outside of, weird Gilliman slowly healing bullshit, you effectively just see them, from their perspective, it's like a time skip.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And it even works in things like demons as well, funny enough.
And if we can't get him in a stasis cage, what's backup plan?
I believe the backup plan is to surround him with 100 Terminators and then go, dogpile!
Yes, and that is a good way to create brains as well, so I'm all down for this plan. It feels like we hit all the major beats of a good plan.
Well, it sounds to me like if we were to action this, step 1, see if Madam Admech can get us a big enough stasis cage for a Primarch. Step 2, surround him with Terminators, just in case.
And surrounding with Terminators, I say graviton cannon him to pin him, get him in a cage if possible.
Oh yeah, Terminators with graviton guns, ideally.
Yeah, and then Carl, do you have anything to add? Do you have anything you want to do? Any part of the plan to add, or any misgivings?
What if it just doesn't work because we're presuming that he will automatically pick up how to learn from brains?
Regardless of brains, if we ignore that aspect, are you game for the capturing of the Primarch before we initiate where the stage 2 might be?
Yeah.
Specifically, the method of either getting him in a status cage or surrounding him with him.
Sorry, I'm just trying to wash something up.
That's right.
Some big alien isolation vibes.
Well, can we try the brains and the vents as well? Just like a few serfs, like 4 or 5 serfs.
Let's try that afterwards.
What,
Because
like
we-
human
we can-
surf brains?
we can
Exactly, yeah.
We can use that as a lure, I suppose. Maybe. I
Because
don't know.
he will have a lot easier to control if we can talk to him and he understands us and he knows what's going on. Right now, he's basically just a scared animal on a ship.
To be fair,
Do remember that the knowledge transferred by eating is usually something that would be relevant for you. So he has to vaguely want to understand you for him to get some hints of language. Otherwise, he might get things like where the secret vent paths are or how to open a door.
I do think that we probably engram the shit out of him. We presumably have some form of. I know we talked about it with the Magi, but we probably shouldn't use her anyway because she's weirdly
Laura
too.
Fevelmin is, I'm sure, very keen to assist you in engramming your prime.
Yeah, if she has a fucking engram, I'm not using it. I will be vehemently against.
You're a tech tech marine, maybe.
Yeah, that's how I know she's run.
I know, yeah. But maybe one on another ship, or one we can maybe hope hasn't been tampered with. I don't know. Or maybe if we do use her one, you can thoroughly check it to make sure there's nothing weird and the data packets or anything like that.
I'd certainly call it an option.
I think you can engram whilst you're in a stasis cage. I think
you cannot do things to people.
Can't do anything in a stasis cage. They are they are outside of time.
Anything
therefore they cannot be
anything that would require the movement of time cannot happen in a stasis cage. Engramming we also play up a little bit for the record, but I'm happy to keep playing it up here. But yeah, I will put my foot down that you can't engram in a stasis cage. Sorry.
I was just going to say one thing I want to add is preparing some kind of gas or like some other sort of sedentary sort of effect. He will probably resist a lot of it. I'm not saying it's going to knock him out, but enough just to make him sluggish.
Yeah, that could definitely be helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stuff that works on Astartes. Presumably, it works on Primarch if you use enough.
Can we all at least agree for stage 1 we should capture the Primarch?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. I don't think that was ever under contention.
And on that note, shall we have some reminders from last session?
Yeah.
Young Nicholas wants to feed the Primarch brains.
Good idea.
Are you sure? Like, I can't remember that.
Stasis cage is on its way. Brackets to where? Mackie is out with wounds for 6 to 12 hours.
Oh, fuck.
Kuzco is in the apothecarium, helping out and staying away from all of this. Coatlmox has gathered swords and snacks in an auto carriage and wants to try to befriend his gene dad.
True. We'll still try that angle.
Coayah thinks he's got the Primarch corralled near the navigator's quarters. Keep an eye on the vent cults. This must all be done non-lethally. And then, in all caps, so you don't forget, unseal the astropathic choir, because you've got wounded in there. And
shit.
You sanctioned it off.
We could do snack laced with brains. Snack laced with brains.
Leave my snacks alone. I'm going at this, I'm trying to befriend a wild ape sort of thing, where I'm going to eat a snack while looking him in the eyes. I'll chuck him a snack, hope he
can't even turn to the classics for this. We can't do the full Enkidu.
And if he accepts the snack,
Primarch.
I'll show him myself wielding our Legion sword and then throw him a Legion sword and see if through that we magically bond.
So, where are we at, folks?
Can we get an update on the status cages? I know we've ordered them a lot.
Yeah, so you ordered a stasis cage from Dralora Felnin. I believe you have told her that it's for the Primarch, but she doesn't have like an estimate on how big the Primarch is, so she'll be guessing off Horus.
Right.
Do we
get
how much do weapons with the shock quality affect Astartes? Do we just shrug them off, or
it tests against toughness? I think, right?
Yes.
So they can, but if they don't, then they really don't.
Yeah, if he presumably has crazy bonuses applied to his unnatural bonuses applied to his toughness and strength. So
think of it like when you make a strength check. You might fail, but if you don't fail, you really don't fail.
How much control do we have over the artificial gravity?
None.
Is it like an on-off thing, or if we do up, down, left, right?
Legion is designed to operate in low-gravity environments, and he is our Primarch. Why would we give him the advantage?
Well, no. If we need to get him into a stasis cage, you flip the gravity and he goes flying into it.
You have to really line that shot up, especially when it's established that he might be too big for the cage. I'd say generally it's a lampshade left hanging, so you don't engage with how the gravity works on 40k ships, because technically they should be organized like skyscrapers, not cathedrals, because the drive is at the back, so the gravity should be pointing downwards from the nose.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We would say dark energy and leave it at that.
Yeah, we just you just don't ask. Sorry, Carl?
I was just going to say that's one of my favourite things about The Expanse is how they deal with that.
Oh yeah, I'd like me some realistic sci-fi as well, but
they got the spinny ships in The Expanse.
One is, and most of them aren't. They just arrange, like Carl said, sort of cathedraly. Not particularly small.
Skyscraper. So who wants to go first? We had Coayah doing his cordon. We had Coatlmox in his auto carriage. Nazeem was plotting something. Mackie's on his way to the medical blister, and it sounds like Kuzco was also on his way to the medical blister, presumably to start work on that gas situation, so you could fill the vents and get him tranked up.
Just because I'm distant and on my way, I'm happy for you to just say I arrive at any other character's action. If that makes sense.
It's fair. Well, I mean, the ship's big, but it's not actually that big, and you're on a carriage on the main conveyor way.
Yeah, I mean, you could
at the very least, I'm not going to get to them before anyone else at this point. Sense.
Where did we land on the whole fish aspect?
We have no fish.
Yeah, you have no fish, and
we pretty much have nothing appealing.
You also don't actually even, because you only just got in the system, right? Like you've been here for less than 24 hours. You don't even know if the dominant life form on his planet is fish-like. It could be lizards down there. It could be insects. It could be something stranger. Maybe it's an exotic xenos that's just sentient warp radiation down there.
I do hate to suggest it, but we could send a shuttle down to pick up whatever he's been eating down there.
Oh, we're going to get some takeout for him.
Yeah, we get some takeout. We have delivery, So, I mean,
yo, Gene Daddy, we're ordering takeout. What do you want?
This is where you find out he's befriended this fish or something somehow. It's like he's stayed semi-sane. He has this fish friend, and you just go puncture it and bring it up as a snack. And it's like, what have you done?
He'd be talking.
As a side,
mission accomplished.
I think that would just come out as a primal scream of rage.
Yeah, then he'd rip your head off.
I do think, though, maybe as a side thing, we could order one of the other ships to go down and take I don't know, maybe not a squad, because they don't really have anywhere to go, but a smaller shuttle down that can pick stuff up. Presumably we have something like that.
Well, is there any land on the planet?
None.
All ocean, not any.
We do have the Titan carriers, right? Maybe they could pick up a giant fish.
I think the Titans would just sink. That you can definitely. You are the Legion command crew. You can tell the rest of the Legion, go pick us up an ocean fish, like giant ocean Titan monster fish, whatever's down there. We don't care what, just grab it and let the details be their problem.
Yes, I think we can do that as a side thing, because that gives us a nice backup plan and gives us fish. Potentially. Somewhere
secondary NPC characters are getting this side quest with no context and being very confused.
What is our context? I am your Legion Master, that is your context. Shut up.
Go get us fresh provisions.
You know what? You could always put it underneath that. We're at an ocean planet. We need fresh provisions. Flood the primary hangar and get a couple of whales.
For science.
For science. I'm just imagining the pectoral cargo tree fin just being like the deep, dark pool that's terrifying.
I love the idea of having an on-board lake or ocean now. That'd be great.
Yeah, actually, I quite like the idea as well.
You've got a number of hangars. You could have a fairly large pool built for him.
You could do that. Honestly, we get a hangar, we maybe get some water, put one of them fish in it.
I love that my original idea of putting him in a giant fish tank to make him feel comfortable has come back in slowly without even trying.
I think it was resting in my subconscious.
I'm going to ask for some orders rather than theory here, because we've talked about unsealing the astropathic choir. We've talked about getting the other rest of the Legion to go down and get you a Titan fish thing. We've talked about forming a giant cordon and then sending Terminators in to dogpile him, but I'm not hearing a lot of actualities.
Okay.
First things first, get the cordon up. If we can keep him trapped in one area of the ship, that solves at least a tiny part of our problems.
So I will delegate command of the Havoc squad to you, I suppose, then, Benji. Of the two Havoc, I guess 2-3 Havoc.
You don't delegate shit to me. I'm the Legion Master.
Yeah, but but they don't like you as much as they like me. Is what I'm saying. So
don't tell that to your command.
No, right? You shouldn't say that, but
I mean, we are the quarrelers.
We are the quarrelers.
Damn it! I'm going to get that nickname changed.
I'm going to start quarreling some fish in a second. Core of everything.
So as Coayah's sorting the cordon situation, then he gets a call over the Vox. Just a one-way message from Mackie saying that he's delegating he's delegating command of Havoc Company to him for the duration, even though Coayah is the Legion Master and technically gives command to Mackie of Havoc Company. But that's not how
Mental
Mackie
note.
sees it.
Rescind Mackie's promotion to Lord High Marshal of all military operations. Give the job to Middling Nicholas instead.
I thought actually because I was Legion battle group commander, whatever it was, I kind of did have this sort of power.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. Actually, you did delegate him this. You specifically gave this authority to him.
Yeah. I made you Lord High Marshal, which is all strategic operations. It's the Prime Minister President situation on Island. I'm the president. I'm the one in charge, technically head of state. You just run things on a day-to-day basis.
You could delegate it to anyone else but Benji.
Exactly.
The Prime Minister is the head of government. The President is the head of state.
Yeah, that one.
In any case, fine. And I don't say that I'm giving you. I just wanted to say you could use the Havocs because I won't be able to command them. So blah 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 blah.
I, for one, am really enjoying Ollie's tripping out on power. Also, I suppose actually I said, Coayah appointed you, but technically speaking, no, you just get elected by your companies. So there is an argument to be made for, Coayah does have nominal command over them, but it's not like your authority is derived from Coayah. Coayah derives his authority from them, same place as you. It's an interesting conundrum for a Legion structure. So it sounds...
Right, I will be changing the Legion structure to make Legion Master a non-elected position. I can do this kind of thing because I'm the Legion Master.
Are you going to try and stop us voting for the next Legion Master?
You can vote for other positions.
I call a vote. Nah. In the middle of us finding our Primarch, I call a fucking vote.
As the Legion Master, I deny this vote.
Is that serious? Are you trying to call a vote of no confidence? We have no precedence for this.
I just got a vote, I don't know how we've previously decided when we vote for a new Legion Master, but it's been pretty sporadic and, of the feeling, right?
I know it's a traditional thing.
I'm pretty sure it's never been voluntary of the Legion Master to suggest it either. I don't know why we'd give the Legion Master the power to override a call to vote.
When it first came around, I invoked it. I said, I'm going to allow this to happen. I think it was put forwards by me when I kind of rotated out almost.
What happened after then? There's been at least one or two votes since, right?
There's been several.
I love how no one's interested in taking actual command, but when I dare to suggest that I'll be making it a permanent position, suddenly that's beyond the pale.
Of course, don't test us, Benji.
we want the option that after you fuck up so badly to replace you, Benji.
They want the constant low-key threat that they might put an NPC in. Perhaps Seb will win the role. No, they have to be a Marine. You cannot vote in NPCs. Well, you can vote in NPCs, but they have to be Space Marines, I guess. I don't know why. In any case.
Well, if we glue enough Space Marine bits to Seb, he becomes a Space Marine, right?
Technically, you can sort that, but we're going to call pace on that one. So let's have... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, while it would be fun to call a vote while we hunt for our Primarch, it's probably not practical.
Yeah, I also.
But I shall hang the reminder that I feel we have the power to do so above Master Benji.
I mean, I don't think we have a precedent for vote of no confidence, but I think it's perfectly reasonable to establish a vote of no confidence. And for the record, if he does say, no, my position's now non-elected, and no one opposes him on that, then I think that's a pretty valid way to suggest that, the position is apparently non-elected, because no one stopped him making it non-elected.
I think this whole conversation is us.
The Legion Master is appointed by the Emperor, and you're going to have to say no to him.
He hasn't appointed any of our last however many, and he certainly hasn't appointed you.
Well, he would have directly appointed the first one.
Yeah, the one who he had killed.
And then appointed a new one.
Didn't appoint you.
Yes, Pace, sorry, Ollie, thank you. So, in that case, Coayah, you're establishing this cordon. That feels like a command check over weapon skill to me. I am going to give you a -20 for the Primarch in the vents being not an easy thing to cordon off. Do you want to just describe how you're doing this for me? Like, are you using... What are we using for troops? How are we sorting it?
So, I'm thinking we want to go low tech on terms of corralling him. Obviously, I want to try and get as many forces up here to corral him, but obviously we're not going to be able to start breaking out the big guns because we don't want to risk hurting him properly. So, I think he also has no concept of, what could actually hurt him because he's never dealt with humans before. So, my thought is we get the first wave and every station that could possibly go stocked to the gills with Terminators behind and armsmen in front armed with autoguns. And yes, I'm aware that autoguns can't really hurt him, but he doesn't know that.
Are you aware you punned as well?
Am I? Did I?
Something gills.
Oh. I apologise. But basically, I want to stock up on like low-tech weapons that can't really hurt him, but he's still going to be afraid of or mistrustful of and try and avoid because natural instinct is like, don't get hit by the thing.
Don't get hit by the thing. I mean, to be strictly fair, I'm sure he is naked. If you shoot him with enough autoguns, he probably will die, but it's one hell of a fuck ton of autoguns.
Yeah, but he'd have to stand there for like 10 hours taking autogun fire to the face to die.
I think your instincts are spot on, and you've already like set out the full alert, so the termies are like rushing to get sorted, and you can call Armstrong up. Yeah, we'll knock it down to a -15 then, please. Command of a weapon skill -15.
Do I still get my bonuses? Is that before my +10 on charm? Sorry, on command. Sorry.
Yeah, that's before. It's not taking skill into account.
Okay, cool. And my talent to give me +10.
What's your talent?
The one I've had for a while, the Air of Authority. Anytime I'm commanding people. Here. Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. +5 then. Huzzah. Grab that one as soon as I could. Because it was useful. That is a pass of just 1 degree.
Let me just...
Slightly awkward.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how to get chat back? I accidentally popped it out into a new window, closed it, and now I don't have chat, and I can't see or interact with the tab in any way.
I have no idea. Maybe settings?
I used to, but I haven't done that in years, I'm afraid, so I don't remember.
Is it Roll20?
Yeah.
Maybe restart the page.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So I'm just updating because I've got a hidden little primarch marker for where he is.
Oh, no, top right. There's a little. If you go top right next to the zoom, there should be a little burger menu that pops out.
I'm gonna say take it to the Discord chat, please.
Yeah.
So a top priority emergency comms goes out from Coayah. Armsmen are mustered by the hundreds to the rearmost spire of the ship, as well as every Terminator you can get. Rapidly, every major vent cluster, every major conveyor way, every major lift plat, and as many of the minor ones as can be, are sealed off by entire platoons of armsmen and at least a Terminator or two apiece. An immense amount of military force deploying. There's a lot of traffic in the vents of your ship. A fair amount of it is displaced. But you know that your cordon's done something right when several of the barricades report screams and scattered gunfire from several vents along. Wounded ratings of assorted ranks staggering out, crying about a mutant, a twist, a monster in the vents.
Has it been pushed back?
It is somewhere in the vents around the navigator's quarters or the observation gallery.
He hasn't escaped, then. That's the important bit.
Next up, I believe... Oh no, Mackie's currently still temporarily out of commission. You can have stims pumped into you, Ollie. If you want to be like vocal and still issuing commands and such, you're welcome to.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Exactly. But they might be punctuated by the sounds of crunching and screaming and such.
Oh, absolutely, but still perfectly well enough that you can speak to people and have people like appraise you of the situation, bring up cogitators and such.
Yeah, sure. So I will contact the wise Magos and tell her that the stasis cage needs to... When I saw the guy, he was about the same size as me in Terminator armor, was it? A bit taller?
He was bigger than that.
He was bigger than that, yeah. He's quite...
Even Terminator is like 10 foot tall.
quite.
He's going to be like 15 at least.
So he's quite a bit taller. He was quite a bit taller than you, and definitely broader. But the limbs weren't quite as chunky. So generally they shouldn't be. But also he's been swimming for his entire life, so he's
Boy is going to be fucking shredded.
Aggressively shredded. We were talking like prize-winning cows levels of shredded.
Okay, I'll tell the honoured magi that we need a stasis cage twice as wide as the average Terminator and maybe twice as tall as well. So get a nice sort of 20-ish foot. I'd say like a 20 by 20 stasis cage if possible.
The report comes back almost immediately from Magis Adjutant for Velnim.
Sir, I am unsure I can meet this request. We lack the specialized production facilities to produce a cage, so girthy.
Well, I ask her what's the biggest cage she can produce.
Perhaps half that size. And it will take us some time.
Ollie, now this is out of character. Ask her if there's any way she can make some kind of sticky grenade.
That's a good point.
It doesn't have to hold him for long. He just has to hold him long enough for the Terminators to dogpile him.
More like web.
Yeah, well, webbers exist, so I mean, I can always ask her. Yeah, it was actually something that's been on the back of my mind. I think last session. Now you maybe remember it. Awesome. Yeah, I'll ask her if she has any sort of very sticky. Incredibly sticky. The stickiest web grenade possible, or
my lord,
such, or some fluid.
My lord, this is the mechanicum. When we want to stick something, it stays stuck. How much of his skin should he retain thereafter?
All of it.
He can probably. I mean, he could survive without it, probably, right? Like, you know, you can ideally as little chemical burns as possible. But a little bit of skin never goes amiss.
I could not possibly agree more.
That's straight out of lie.
What? She's a magos.
A little bit of skin could go amiss.
Yeah, couldn't. That's what he was. That's what Ollie said. A little bit of skin doesn't go amiss. A little bit of missing skin doesn't go amiss.
But a little bit of skin doesn't go amiss. Not missing skin.
I meant to say a little bit of skin.
I got what you meant, Ollie.
You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. I got it wrong. It's fine.
No, to be fair, you heard it right.
Wrong.
We just so.
Ewan just gets me on a level, man.
I mean, I do.
I will have barrels whipped up. Or we could perhaps arrange for some kind of glue-based water cannon.
Glue-based water cannon?
Could they be attached to Terminator armor?
That was literally going to be my next question. If not, they can always be maybe...
Is this an open...
Did you say the astropathic communiques were down?
Yes.
Many things can be attached to Terminator armor.
Am I on this comms right now? Is this open?
I'm afraid this is just Mackie speaking to Delora.
I love that confirmation. Are the astropaths listening? No, okay.
It's not are the astropaths listening, it's can anyone stitch to Mars?
I don't know, but with what I hope is a knowing tone in my voice, say no. The astropaths are still down, I'm afraid.
Truly a tragedy. I'll have something sorted within the hour.
Okay, I will message...
Serious question. Does the Lord Primarch need his eyes?
Yes.
Functioning.
100%.
That makes it more difficult. We'll work on something, but we'll still be with you shortly. Expect stickiness reduced.
It doesn't have to hold him permanently, it just has to hold him down long enough for us to dogpile him.
The eyes are weak flesh.
I will, I tell her that to please let both myself and Lord Coayah know. Lord Coayah is, Lord Commander Coayah will be directing operations.
The Legion Master will of course be informed.
I can't do much in my
Marine as well if you're editing.
And the Tech Marine as well.
She better give me a call.
Of course. After we have told the Legion Master.
After we've got Legion Master's stamp, so he cannot disagree.
Exactly. I give a knowing. If I could nod with my voice, I would, but instead I just say I understand and scream a little bit as a bonus set, I suppose.
Okay. And Kuzco, I think you wanted to be working on making trank gas, or equivalent.
That is correct, but I would also like to have members, excuse me, of the Apothecarium heading to the Astartes Choir to do their best to salvage any potential limbs or people or mixtures.
Brains.
Okay,
no.
I will take. Let's have a brace of rolls on this one. Then I think Kuzco. God damn, I hate your goddamn Emperor Kuzco picture. It's so rage. Accrue some chaos points so I can give you a llama face already. Cool. I think for the gas with the mass production, or for the trank.
If we're going for the gas, I would also like to bring up a couple of points.
Yeah.
So way back when, before I started being nice Kuzco, one of the things I did was to test the extreme limits of Space Marines and try and push them as far as
I remember that. Yeah, it's part of the reason you started hanging
Sorry.
out with humans.
You stopped being Fabulous Bill.
So with that, I have a baseline of the minimum, the bare minimum to even get an effect from the Primarch by that comparison sort of deal.
Disturbingly, yes, your dark backstory does come up. I think you can, if anyone's going to estimate dosages.
Yeah, again, when did you stop being Fabulous Bill?
Over the last couple of campaigns, obviously. He started out being very torture happy, and he's slowly got nicer, partially as a result to no one wanting to hang out with him because he was torture happy.
Yeah.
I figured he was just hiding it better.
No, that's young Nicholas.
I disagree, but sure.
But yeah, and combine that with the way that I reacted with the Emperor, I got a full frontal. I may not have seen the Primarch, because I only saw Mackie getting smashed out by a truck and thrown around. But I got an idea of the Emperor's scale. So not necessarily the internal toxicity resistance, but again, it's okay, so if we have this much and they've got this much, I also need to scale up the amount, by another.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm following you. So you'd have some idea of what his actual height is because you saw the actual height, albeit in armor, of Big E. Okay, cool. I will take, I think, with the bonuses and for the amount of material you're trying to. Sorry, Nicholas, were you going to say something?
No, I was making a comment that obviously Kuzco did see him as a human, not as a god.
Yes, well, Kuzco saw through the illusion.
Yeah.
So yes, he saw him as a human, but it wasn't just that he saw him as because I think at least one of the rest of you also saw him quite human-esque. But Kuzco saw him.
I thought we all saw him as fairly. Did any of us see him as a god?
Well,
specifically,
Tech Marine saw him as the Omnissiah, and the psychiatrist did not see him as a god per se, but you wouldn't know that if you saw the same thing from what your Nicholas described.
A mentor, a target, something to achieve. I will never reach it, but something to progress towards.
A paragon, one might say, sorry.
I feel like for the quantity and the stuff that so for the quantity and the difficulty, but you've actually got some basis to work with, I am going to call it, I think it works out to a -20, but you stand a decent chance of, for Medicaid over intelligence.
Okay, then. Oh, fate, you fucker.
Yeah, that looked like 4 doff.
Yeah.
Reroll to hundo. The gas makes him faster.
Yeah.
Hey!
It's given him power.
What was the DOS there, sorry?
2.
2. On 2 DOS. Yeah, after a couple of hours of working away, assigning away Mackie's kind of surgery will be handled by one of the other apothecaries. It'll
as I lay there crying.
Crying out of one eye and giving orders out the other. What?
no ratings come for me. Everyone's assuming that that Kuzco's looking after me. It's a horrible story.
No, he's delegated. You're being taken care of by other people. Kuzco's got mad science to be doing. Mad science he does on 2 DOS. That sounds like you are able to produce in just a few hours a surprisingly large quantity of quite intense gas. Now, this, when pumped into the vents, is not likely to have a great effect on Astartes or indeed regular mortals. But
to be fair, we've got access to rebreathers in our helmets.
You do
and stuff
indeed.
Like that.
So you're going to want to make sure you're wearing helmets and that you evac what crew you have, or just accept that you may have some people overdosing.
Apologies to vent cults in the area.
Is that a sentence you thought you'd say today, Carl?
Nope.
There's a good deal of them.
I'm going to just put that one down real quick.
And in the background, Dralora is readying the sticky goop. There has been no further report, well, not any more dramatic changes in the reports coming out from the sectioned off area of the ship. What was the other thing you wanted to be up to, Carby?
Having a contingent of apothecarium ratings and other medical trained people to go to the astropathic choir and try and stabilize and move down as many of the remaining astropaths to the apothecarium as possible.
Okay. I think that's probably a crew roll, right? Should we call it 40 or under?
Yeah.
Damn it, Carl. We've all seen what's in the chat.
Oh boy!
Yeah, 3 degrees of success. They're able to salvage or save a good deal of your astropaths, as well as assorted other victims. Not to mention start to deal with the mess on the topmost conveyor way, or the refugees that you've been able to get out of the cordoned off section of the ship. Like, generally, the apothecarium is fucking on this, and they're very ably assisted by, they're easily the most popular arm of the Marines on the ship, which means they've got a good amount of auxiliary volunteers helping out. Naturally, you would anyway, but people jump at the chance to assist the apothecaries come consuls. Nazeem, what have you been up to this whole time?
Realizing he's not beelining it for psychery stuff, and relax a little bit. And started saying if I have A, suitable brain to feed him, B, any tomes or stories about how to calm down wild feral beast.
Okay.
Nazeem is such a nerd.
What's the first? What's your criteria for success for the first one there?
That if I ate this brain, I would gain Space Marine-esque knowledge, like the rest of the brothers and so forth, from it.
Well, remember that it's contextual to what the person wants. You don't get like everything out of it. You get
It's like if he's wearing like where am I sort of thing, and who are these? What are these things? It means he would identify with these are my brothers. Ah, okay. Or, oh, I'm on a Space Marine ship. Oh, I am from bloodline of Space Marines.
Those are a lot of complex concepts to communicate to someone who doesn't have a name.
Okay.
Maybe just learn how to
I guess
play a flute.
this is a safe place for him. He belongs here. This is maybe not his home, but his home away from home. So this is safe space.
So I've
These
suggested
people aren't after me, sort of thing.
Ollie?
You gave me an idea, Nick. Talking about pumping in sound. When we ask the away team to go down and get a whale for us and flood one of the hangars, maybe ask them to record some of the noises down there as well. And whether it will terrify him or placate him, we can direct him with both.
Placate.
Huh?
Thank you.
Yeah. So you can, use the noises of this planet to control him. Perhaps, he will have probably very sensitive hearing, considering he's probably had to be on the lookout ever since he was, 0 years old to dodge whales or whatever the hell's down there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the criteria for the brain stuff would be this is a safe space, don't need to fear, basically. It's like any Marine brother walking around knows that this is a safe space to be.
I don't think any brain in your collection is going to give that. You would functionally need to somehow prepare a brain.
Maybe we could use yours.
I don't know if that's what you get. Like, if you ate Nazeem's brain right now in his state of mind, I feel like he'd mostly sense that there's a number of important things in the library.
I feel like he might also still be a little hungry afterwards.
Damn.
Okay. Ha 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 ha. In that case, yes. Let's focus on. I think everyone's semi on board with we can try brains later on once he's captured. For now, let's go for calming down wild beasts.
Capturing him first.
Yeah, let's say brains aren't off the table completely.
But we'll go with capturing first, then brains later. For now, tome about calming down and capturing wild beasts.
Okay. Inquiry over intelligence, please. You've got your library, but it's quite big. I'm going to call it a +0.
Fair enough. What we getting?
That's because you used a capital D.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's cursed.
Yeah.
I don't know why my keyboard had that. Not good.
Sticking with that one?
I don't feel it's worth. Am I going to do much else this session? Probably not. We'll fate it.
I mean, it's up to you. You don't have to stay in the library. Yeah, get Hundo, Nick.
I think we'll do a fatey. Do a fatey, boy. We'll see.
See, look how much
better.
Yeah.
That's that's 55, 45. So I just one success though. Unfortunately.
Why did we gain this ultimate disdain for the concept of using fate to reroll?
I think it's mostly because I boo it when it got for a while there, and people have just picked it up from that. That's my bad.
Yeah. One success, though, I do believe. I think
there are 30? A number of
two. What am I doing? I can't do math. Two?
Maths. Two successes.
Yes, 2 successes.
All right, so what's your intelligence?
55.
Cool, so 29, 39, 49, 2 degrees.
Yeah.
So,
I looked off.
On 2 successos, there's quite a lot of, quite a number of bodies of work in the library that cover this or situations like this. Some are fanciful accounts, some are significantly less fanciful accounts. Some are even manuals on the subject. Unfortunately, they're not really tailored for your exact situation. That said, they all generally do agree on a number of points. 1, that it's important not to attack the animal. 2, that you need to make the animal feel safe by giving it a calm environment, ideally one similar to what it's suited. And 3, you should never, ever, under any circumstances, back the animal into a corner.
Everything that we're doing then, we're doing the opposite of what we should be doing.
At least according to the manuals you have on training wild animals. Admittedly, they're written for animals, not feral humans.
Fair enough. I will relay, with the caveat this is information on feral animals, not humans, that this is the list of things we should not do if we're trying to capture him.
I'm going to need a hand.
And on that subject,
and I make sure the entire command crew this is like to the command crew specifically. Do not do these things if we're trying to capture and calm him.
Okay, so you're a couple of hours into having already backed him into a corner.
Yes.
So I think that's a discussion you should have with people. But a couple of hours in the past, an auto carriage skids up to the lift plat below the navigator's spire.
Father.
I'm here.
He's doing the fucking IT crowd bit.
My ideal situation is, well, whatever else is going on, I wander around this area and just see if I can meet him in a hallway or vent. I have no particular way to find him, but I shall be saying, Father! Walking around.
As you raise up, you rapidly encounter a solidifying barricade. Coayah has cordoned this area off. A group of armsmen seem reluctant to let you through, but they can't stop you, and you can certainly countermand if you want to get through, but hypothetically they might snitch on you to Coayah.
That's fine. I'll just let them know to let me through.
They guiltily look between each other and then move to let you pass. You proceed up a long, winding stairwell towards the navigator's quarters. Above you can hear distant gunshots. Occasional screams.
I'll head in the vague directions of gunshots and screams.
As you pass, you note that the navigator's quarters themselves have gone into complete panic mode, and more or less entirely locked down, becoming a tiny fortress bunker. The screams move erratically. You come to first one site and then the next, and then the next, and the next. In each there are people telling a tale of a giant mutant twist, a scarily muscled monster of a man, bursting onto the scene, killing someone and then running, doused head to toe in gore, meters tall, always just a little ways ahead of you. I think you're probably going to have to roll to track him.
Uh-oh. What would that look like?
I think that's likely going to wind up being... Let's have a look. It's probably search, right?
A search a thing? Oh, it is a thing.
Do we have... Oh, no, tracking is an existing specialist skill. Oh, you have it trained.
Oh.
So, I will take... I think that's likely to be tracking over perception, please. At a +0.
Random question, but do other people have tracking and literacy trained?
I'm pretty sure literacy everyone gets, so that Space Marines aren't illiterate.
It's only because I saw tracking and literacy on the advanced skills as trained for me, but I never bought them.
Yeah, I know. So we get some trained ones depending on your speciality.
Okay, that's fine then. That's fine. Wait.
Jesus, 3 DOS. It takes you an hour or two, at just about the moment that you start to hear over your helmet comms, that Nazeem is telling you, no, we need to ease the cordon. We're backing him into a corner. He's going to get more hostile. You round the corner and come face to face with a scene of devastation. 5 armsmen lay scattered around, strewn in significantly more than 5 places. Sat on his haunches in the middle of them, gently sniffing at the wet flesh, is your primarch.
I shall pull 2 ration bars from my pocket, point at him, and say, "Father!" If he looks to me, I shall point at myself and say, "Son!"
He starts backwards a little bit at the loud noise, dropping into an adversarial crouch. It's clear that he moves awkwardly, unused to standing on hard, firm ground for long periods of time, and clearly off-put by his lineman's ear no longer acting up.
And I shall crouch down to a kneel, lift my helmet so my mouth is visible, and take a bite from my ration bar while looking at him. Then I shall toss the second ration bar in his direction.
Can I get a dodge roll, please?
Uh-oh. Where is dodge? Just roll 100. Where's dodge off? Agility. 1 success owed.
As you gently huck the ration bar at him, a little underarm toss, there's a blur of movement as he punches it out of the air and sends it flying straight back at you.
Can I try and catch it again?
I mean, it's moving extremely fast, so you don't really have a moment to do more than process the automatic dodge and just, about manage to throw yourself slightly to the side. Years of avoiding grenades coming in handy. The ration bar goes skittering off down the corridor behind you.
I shall try to maintain eye contact with him while I finish my ration bar.
You're still wearing a helmet, aren't you?
I said I'd lifted it to show my mouth.
Yeah, but that doesn't show your eyes.
Oh yeah, I guess I would be pretty blind while I had it half lifted.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, this kind of
I'm hesitant to lift off my entire helmet because the top half of my head is all mechanical. And I'm hoping a mouth at least will show him I'm human.
It kind of feels like this is how like Judge Dredd would eat a ration bar. Just sort of open square jaw, slides thing in.
In which case I shall discontinue to face towards him and hope I don't die while I finish my ration bar calmly while kneeled.
He gently begins to place the severed limb he's holding down on the floor, moving backwards, skittering, almost insect-like. His dark eyes glittering with a surprisingly inhuman, yet fierce intelligence. Quietly you sit there.
Sorry. I have returned. There was a small baby-related emergency.
Munching on your ration bar, desperately hoping that you don't die.
Jesus, what's going on here?
I've met eyes with the Primarch. I'm trying to show him that ration bars are food.
I see.
Once I finish my bar, I shall produce the 2 chapter swords I have. Put my helmet back on.
He seems
Sorry,
to recognize
who
this.
authorised you to go into the cordoned off area?
No one. I told them, I'm me, let me through.
Yes, that is exactly what happened. A group of armsmen tried to stop him, and he said, no, let me through, I'm in the Legion command crew, and they sort of just let him go.
I see.
I'll place one of the swords on the ground, handle pointed towards him, and push it slightly in his direction.
He seems to recognize it, his eyes narrowing. He drops into an even more battle-ready crouch, ready to spring forward at any moment.
I was afraid this was going to happen.
And,
Challenge, you say?
With it in that position, I shall sit cross-legged at the blade tip of it, and hold the other sword on my lap, with the handle in my hand. Just looking towards him.
Okay, I think I'm going to ask for a roll here to hold your nerve. That's a fear test.
Given the killing machine.
That's absolutely a fear test.
That's a fear test, presumably with quite a hefty malice, given you've just given a weapon to a Primarch.
Well, he's not picked up the weapon yet, but he's definitely... He clearly recognizes what it is and has been quite violent with the body language. We'll call it a fear test. Should we whack a minus 30 on that? Or is that too harsh? Should we think minus 20 or minus 30, folks?
I'm going to say minus 20 just to be at least a little bit reasonable. I'm going to say just to be a little bit reasonable. I kind of feel it should be minus 30 because you're doing this with a Primarch, and the only Primarch we have any data on at the moment is Horus, who is obviously Daddy's special favourite boy, and who is currently like a legit killing machine.
I'm inclined to agree. If I feel like it should be 30, but it's fairer to say 20, so that we can give him like a chance of success.
If this was Conrad Kurz, it will be 100% be 30, probably 40.
If this was Conrad Kurz, you wouldn't be making the roll. If this was Conrad Kurz, you'd already be dead.
Well, there is that, but
So. I mean, fortunately for you, as far as you're aware, your Primarch's only likely to skin for the joy of it, not for ethical reasons. So, sounds like it'll be a fear test at minus 20 then.
Is that flat willpower?
I believe so, unless you have a bonus.
Reroll it? Oh, close. I was looking for 17.
Oh no!
Do we get any random bonuses to fear anywhere?
Let's take a look.
You desperately check.
We don't have. We shouldn't. We probably might do as part of our rules, but that will be, and they shall know no fear, which isn't a thing in 30k.
I don't have anything specifically listed.
We don't.
What does Nerves of Steel grant?
That's I don't know.
Oh, may rerolled failed willpower tests to avoid or recover from pinning. Okay.
To avoid or
pinning
recover from pinning, right?
Yeah.
You should. They might just be running with the idea that the Astartes don't feel fear, so you don't take fear tests.
I imagine the idea is like you wouldn't. If you're taking a fear test, you don't get a bonus to it because you're already taking a fear test from something that's so ridiculously scary. That's why you're taking the fear test at all.
Yeah,
would be my assumption here. not having read the rules and with no intention of doing so.
And like I say, we don't have "and they shall know no fear" in the 31st millennium.
So we'll call it Wondoff.
Sure.
A single bead of sweat starts wicking down from the topmost fleshy part of your face. You can feel the pressure mounting, the tension. You hold your primarch's gaze for a long, long minute, but in the end, you blink. And in that instant, he dashes forwards. There's a blur, and the primarch is gone.
Oh, second, the creep was about to lose some arms again.
Did he take the swords?
Along with the sword.
I consider this progress.
Congratulations, you're giving the kiddie guy more kiddiness.
The screams start again.
To be honest,
minutes.
To be honest, I don't think it's a really big thing that he's got a sword now. He's so deadly. It's like strapping a gun to a T-Rex. It's just... beyond a certain point, it just doesn't need it.
I do feel like he'd probably break the sword, honestly.
Oh, what, you think he'll do a full Ferdinand?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in his hands, it's probably just a slightly larger knife.
I think the issue you might find with giving him the sword and him learning how to use it is with Primarch learniness. The issue's not now he has a sword, it's now he understands sword.
Well, that's good though, right? I've taught him one thing about our legion. Sword. It's a step in the right direction.
Technically, it doesn't mean you've given him... You haven't given him a sword, you've given him a Macuiltotec.
Yeah.
Yeah, our legion sword, specifically.
Yeah. Macuiltotec pattern chainsword.
Yeah. I consider this a win.
As I say, the screams start within the minute. Coayah, also within the minute, begins to receive reports that the Primarch has acquired a sword. The unnamed mutant Twist has acquired a sword. Petitions are coming in from your Terminator squads to be allowed to just move in and purge the beast.
No.
Pin the beast.
I think it's entirely fair to assume that you have preemptively... one, you've had the murder pinned down as much as possible already, and two, that you've definitely made sure no one who's ever been even slightly near the murder is being called for this very delicate operation.
Yeah, no, this is going to be exclusively Havoc and Tactical companies.
Exactly. You can assume this is Havoc and Tactical. So... it's been a couple of hours, so Mackie is stabilized. They've not exactly fixed up yet. The goop of the sticky variety and the trank gas are starting to come through, and you've arranged a cordon. What are we doing, folks? Oh, and Nazeem, sorry Benji, you just ran off at the time, but Nazeem has been reading up on books on how to befriend wild animals. And
I was there for that bit.
Yeah, he's of the opinion that they say do exactly the opposite of what you're currently doing.
I would like to call over to one of
Nazeem is a big nerd, and I'm not going to listen to him.
I would like to call over to one of the other ships, and I don't know if I can do that without the astropathic choir. I don't know if they're like...
You've got a Vox.
You've got a Vox. Okay, I didn't know if
you can communicate in system just fine.
In system Vox. Okay, cool. That's fine.
It might take like an hour if they're on the other side of the system, but they're not.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to message, whoever I think might be... I don't know, do I have an idea of which ship may have drop ships or something that will be best suited to this? Or
yeah, perfectly well. You've even been in command of the strategic side of the fleet for some time, so you're very well able to organise something here, Ollie. I don't even know if I'd ask you to roll it. You have access to thousands of Marines and an entire fleet. You can tell them, go get me whatever monster down there looks edible, and they'll just do it for you.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to tell them, to get whatever thing they can, make it edible, and maybe we... I don't know, does anyone have any big objections if I flood one of our pectoral cargo tree fins or something?
I think it's a brilliant idea. I love the idea of just like a giant ocean in one of those places.
It's worth noting that Benji has murdered people before for flooding the pectoral cargo tree fin.
What's in there at the moment, for a start?
Cargo.
Okay, so it is filled with cargo.
We'll have to move it. We'll have to move it. Put it in. I don't know. Just
at the very least, move the cargo first.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you're doing
Where
it.
to? You're flooding cargo storage.
So we're flooding cargo.
Another ship?
We're gonna have to get him out. We're gonna have to get him used to the fact he's not on an ocean world anymore. Like,
We can build him a little island so he can get accustomed to land.
Oh, also, can we seal off the pectoral cargo tree fin, or is that open top always?
How do you mean, sorry?
Is there like a big door we can seal at like the top of it?
Oh, yeah, it's a lift plat.
Okay.
There'd still be like...
So we could keep water in there, theoretically, without it going everywhere else.
And we can still...
I mean, it'll definitely leak, but, you can flood it faster than it would leak, I suppose, and probably find some way to seal it off over time. You'd be dealing with water for a while. Sorry?
Sure.
It would probably... I was thinking maybe it would freeze over time. The cracks and joints and the things that are causing the slight leaks, if it's venting to the outside.
No, they'd be venting into the...
into the network.
The network, exactly. The assorted minor corridors and vents and into the insulation and the cladding, etc., etc.
So I'm going to message Coayah with this idea, and I'll tell him that I'll organise for the pectoral cargo tree fin to be
flooded.
To be flooded, but also to have the cargo moved out and just placed in corridors or something like that. We'll figure out where it can go later, or move to another ship.
I mean, again, I'm not entirely sure how we're going to transition from we're going to get him by dogpiling him with terminators into let's just put him in an aquarium and hope for the best.
What I'm thinking is, we get him somehow, and then we can dump him down there if we need to.
Also, at the very least, we could try and present it as a gift of good faith.
Yeah,
if we get him vaguely social.
Yeah, basically. So, as long as Coayah has no objections, I'm going to start making organisations to move the pectoral cargo elsewhere and have another couple of ships in the fleet send down drop ships or whatever to pick up examples of life and a lot of water. Dump it in there. In our pectoral cargo tree fin, assuming there's a way we can transfer ship to ship easily enough.
You're met with incredulity from the rest of the fleet. There's a number of complaints of, we're not zoologists, what are you talking about?
I'll just say something along the lines of, we have been commanded by the highest powers to perform a mission, and this is part of it. You need not question me.
You're calling Big E on them.
I say just the highest powers. I don't know, but they know. I think they probably would have seen a giant fuck off.
Oh yeah, they know. Remember that you've had the fleet on best behavior and scrub yourself up. That a lot of them were low-key expecting they'd get to meet with or fight alongside Big E, and he was here for 2 seconds and then left.
It's a real big disappointment.
Oh yeah, they're pretty disappointed. But also, there's not much they can say to that.
So what I can say to that then is, we are doing. I mean, I know we're always doing the Emperor's will, but this is a direct order, creatively interpreted from the Emperor. To become temporary zoologists.
That shuts them up. Confusedly and unhappily, but it does shut them up. They hop to it.
Awesome.
Okay. Where are we at, folks?
I'm staying in my lab for as long as possible. I gotta watch this, one wrong misstep and the whole batch is wasted. What can I say?
I'll wait for some other plans to action and then just essentially try the same thing again.
Not to mention the fact that it could cause some massive issues if you've got a leak of potentially deadly gas right next to the O2 scrubbing area.
Yeah.
Cause issues.
It's either the best or worst place for it to leak, right? Either that goes much better than it would anywhere else, or much, much worse.
Either way, I'm best suited where I am right now, so don't worry about me. I'm all good, guys.
Mm-hmm. I guess, Benji, it's your call for the next plan? I guess you're going to go pig?
We're still going for the first plan.
Yeah, but we need to do the next step now.
Yeah, so we're gonna move in and try and pin him down.
Okay. How we doing?
Utilising the sticky stuff. So, We're going to move in. We're going to try and draw him out. Obviously, we're leaving the guards to try and push him back with the autogun fire at all the checkpoints. We're going to move Terminators in. We're going to try and pin him down, and once we've got him locked down, hopefully locked down with sticky stuff as well, then we will just dogpile him with Terminators.
You don't want to try and pin him with the graviton cannons then. Only because I feel like that will result in less deaths.
They are siege weaponry.
I can't risk hurting him. Is the thing. Sticky stuff probably might damage him superficially. Graviton cannons might damage him.
Just backing up. Graviton cannons are not non-lethal. Just because you pin things with them, that doesn't mean they're not causing massive devastation.
I have one frame of reference for how tough Primarchs are, and that's second-hand rumours.
So if you want, for the focus beam, which you have 4 or 5 or 10 of them, it's pin one enormous target. They make a -40 strength test, and it deals 1d10 impact damage. Once pin target takes 1d10 impact damage per round, ignoring armor for 2d10 rounds. So he will take damage, but he can probably survive it. Is my guess.
We have no way of knowing this in character. Is the thing. Because we can only be sort of sure that he won't die.
I mean, he has fate. He'll be fine. If a Primarch doesn't have the Emperor's blessing, I will be very surprised.
Again, we have no real way of knowing that he will die.
I know. But I mean, you do arguably have the experience of my squads knowing how deadly the focus beam and the broad beam are.
Yeah, but we have no idea how tough he is.
As a compromise, Benji, we could say that once he's stuck, we can have the Grav boys on board, and if the sticking isn't working, just try them one at a time with the pinning maneuver.
I mean,
because that way we're not instantly assuming however many we'll need, but it might be reasonable to assume at least one would be useful in pinning.
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't have an idea of how tough he is, but we know that he's at least tough enough and strong enough to rush a full suit Terminator armor through several walls at not much more than 20 foot of starting momentum.
Graviton cannons can rip Spartans apart. I'm not risking putting that kind of weapon onto our Gene Father.
Okay, fair enough.
You're also talking about a lot of overlapping Graviton cannons.
I'm aware. You can also do.
I was trying to say we could at least have them on hand around the stickening, in case we want to get to them.
Yeah,
as a compromise.
You can also do broad beam, which just throws people around on a -30 strength test, and it only does 1d10.
Oh yeah, wait, sorry, just to dial back. These are opposed strength tests, right?
It's a minus. I don't think it's opposed. It's just a -30. I can check.
Yeah, sorry. So he has to take a strength test.
Yeah, he would have to take a strength test as well at -40.
There is a decent chance from what you saw with him and the wall, that beating you up in your Terminator armor where you roll at 90 or under, that he's not technically immune to the Graviton cannons, but unless you pile a lot of them on, he's functionally probably quite immune. And in a white box scenario where you can get 20 Termies around him, or even 10, probably, your corridors up there are not that wide, and he is not that slow.
Some might say deceptively so.
So, Coayah gives the command. And with the Gravitons, at least in the reserve, definitely in the area, and with the jury-rigged glue cannons strapped to a number of your dissatisfied Terminators, told that under no circumstances are they to use lethal force, the goal is capture. You begin making probing efforts up into the Navigator's spire. Everything's a little too quiet at first. You come across a few pockets of carnage, but they're not the worst things in the world. Yeah, bodies butchered, yeah, scenery torn apart, but mostly what you're expecting. No, Coayah, the first thing that causes you distress is the report of a rating who has been clearly shorn in two by what appears to be a chain blade.
I mean, again, From all the reports, he's probably strong enough to just do that with his bare hands, so it's not a huge deal.
Absolutely,
but stop giving the weapons to the goddamn killing machine!
That is what he's been doing, is he's been using his bare hands. But now he understands the concept of melee weapon.
He studied the blade.
You probably would have got a report that I crossed the breach with two chainsaws.
You absolutely did not.
I will just say this here and fucking now. If our Primarch turns out to be a weeb and pens a book about weeaboo fighting magic, I will commit suicide with this character and I will not respawn.
No, the ratings didn't actually snitch you in, Coatlmox, as they were under the impression that they would almost certainly be the next people on the chopping block.
Perfect. No worries.
I would like to have Coatlmox summoned to me.
Yeah, it's funny actually.
What could you possibly want, brother?
You can't find him, and at that point, shortly after, you get a message from Magus Adjutant Drelora Favelnin telling you that your glue is ready.
Oh, was it not ready?
I thought it was already. It actually has been ready, and it's been ready and delivered. In fact, and at this point, it's about at this point you get a vox in from her, just saying,
"My Lord Legion Master, I've been attempting to raise the tech marine on the vox. He is not responding. He does not appear to be inside his forge shrine."
Which one?
I'll deal with this later. Let it be known, however, as a general broadcast, that anyone else attempting to arm our current target will face restorative...
how to gun next.
He's armed.
The two of them.
Honoured Magos, from the evidence of what he could do when he was unarmed, do you think it really matters that he's got a simple chain blade?
Yes.
All it does is create slightly more cleaning up for the serfs.
What happens if he captures a power sword? At the moment,
apologies. Have you seen what his bare hands can do?
I have not. The sensors have locked down incidents.
Yes. Unfortunately, he appears able to just rip his way through any and all bulkheads, various material, and most of the ship. So, quite frankly, him having a power weapon does not seem to be a problem.
What an incredible and magnificent specimen.
Yes, yes, if you could turn off your religious devotion to this scion of the Omnissiah for 1 second. Right, look, please try and keep raising Coatlmox. I have a job to do.
I shall do my best to locate him.
Look, if she can stop stimping for 1 second, I can probably get on with it.
Okay. Meanwhile, Coatlmox, you've heard over the Vox network that sounds like Coayah has begun moving forwards. Do you know he's got trank gas? And he's got... Oh yeah, in fact, trank gas is starting to flood in, as far as I understand it.
Relatively nearby. Have you been keeping Seb with you, Coayah, or did you dismiss him?
I don't think I've got him near me, no.
Alright.
You have been planning this. Did you want to order Seb to stalk?
No, it's fine. I honestly keep forgetting Seb is a thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, right? Is if he told Seb to just go hang out near you, no one's going to question it. And
yeah, I probably wouldn't even notice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're happy for it, I just had Seb observing him.
So Seb's just there. So you've heard that entire conversation.
Perfect. In which case, I should just be, using Coayah's location to help me and continue trying to track the Primarch. Also, if I run into any other marines or storehouses, I'll pick up any rations they have on them. Just commandeer them.
I'll take another tracking roll, please. You're already on his tail, so I'll give you a +10 this time.
My last feat. Oh, that's better. The 3D dice lied to me and showed me 59. I was very scared.
No, that's a 19. What's the DOS on that?
Tracking, right? Was this off perception again?
Yeah.
Then 2.
Cool. On 2 DOS. It's been 10 minutes before you're able to find him. When you do, he's acquired a second blade. On top of that, he appears to be wearing several small belts. They look like they've come from crew around his arms. Tucked into them are assorted smaller pieces of weaponry and items of coloured cloth.
Oh no, he's learning fashion.
He's assimilating with the Legion.
Fucking damn it, I will kill as many people as I have to complete this.
He's learning like this, right? Just throwing it out there, completely out of character. Maybe we should just start talking to each other while we're near him, very loudly, so that he can definitely hear communication, but not shouting.
Ooh, good shout.
Find him in a corridor.
For now, I'm going to start similarly to how I did before. Oh, sorry, did you have more?
You find him in a corridor. This time not surrounded by corpses, but the fresh blood spattering him indicates that he's killed another few.
I'll point towards him once more and say, Father! And if he looks at me, point to myself, say, Son!
You get a low, awkward growl back.
Once again, I'll pull out a ration bar, lift my helmet to show my mouth, take a couple bites, throw out a second, put it on the ground, and push it towards him.
He drops into the combat crouch, but as you don't huck the bar, this time he doesn't punch it back towards you.
I'll just leave it there and continue eating mine.
He holds
relatively blind.
Awkwardly. I will take a charm of a fellowship test, please, at a -20. See how you convey this. How non-threateningly in your full battle armor can you eat that ration bar?
This isn't going to be good. -20, was it?
It was.
Oh yeah, I'll be like 5'd off.
Two things happen in quick succession. Which of your arms is your least favourite?
I say the left.
Well, it won't be your
thing.
least favourite for much longer.
Thank God you don't have a biological limb.
As your primarch again dashes forward, smashing past you. This time there's a tear. As he pulls one of your limbs off, your left arm coming showering away. Sparks flying. He disappears and the pain overwhelms you for a moment. But point number 2.
Can I shout Father as he goes?
Father! Yes, of course. As your vision swims, you notice the ration bar gone from the floor of the corridor.
Now it's just a toss-up of which one he eats first, the arm or the ration bar.
My arm's made of metal.
I mean...
Coayah, one of your squads has had contact. A brace of Terminators and their attached armsman platoon report the twist has been seen. His arms now, as well as literally carrying an arm. Mechanical.
Uh-oh.
God damn it. Ox. Right, fan out. Pattern Theta. Try and corral him more towards the other squads.
Okay. I think that's going to be a command over fellowship.
Excellent. Do I get bonuses?
Yeah.
Or am I getting negatives because...
They don't understand what they're fighting yet. I was about to give you a negative and then had processed that, actually, they don't really know why they should be scared. They think they're just fighting a big mutant and being a little bit too cozy about it. So yeah, your negatives don't apply, you just get your bonuses.
That is 4 degrees of success.
Nice.
4 degrees of success mean that you have a surprisingly successful time of it. Coordination between the squads is good, and within just a few minutes, you're able to do 2 things. Firstly, pin the primarch down to within a fairly small section of corridors and rooms. Secondly, come across Coatlmox.
Hello.
Missing an arm. And
Just been trying to have a chat with Pa.
My eye lenses cycle on and off.
He did take the ration bar. I think he's slowly acclimatizing.
Eye lenses cycle on and off again.
Did you give him a weapon?
I presented one to him.
You gave the completely non-understanding, feral, kill-crazy Primarch a weapon.
Looking slightly less feral now, though. Progress, I say.
Eye lenses cycle on and off again.
I just picture the light goes out behind them and then comes back on after a half a second.
Please report to somewhere else. Please go and do something else. I just can't even at this point.
I trust we were leaving that awkward silence there.
I don't have the words, Coatlmox.
I'm sure next time I'll get through to him, sir.
And words.
If you talk to him again before we have captured and contained him properly, I will shoot you. Do I make myself clear?
Is this an execution, sir, or a friendly warning shot?
Waves his stump.
We'll start with the latter. But if you keep doing it, we'll proceed to the former.
I'm out.
It is at about this junction that you hear a bestial roar, and several of your squads report contact. The Primarch feels penned in, and he's making a break for it.
Bring up the glue, quickly!
The glue is being deployed.
Deploy the sticky stuff!
All over his face and his lower back.
No! None of that!
I
have a thing Benji's going to hate for after this is resolved.
Just going to make some GM rolls real quick. 1. 2. 3. Okay.
Wait, why do we think glue would work when we didn't think graviton weapons would work?
We weren't confident either one would work without... Well, we weren't confident one would work without killing him, and we weren't confident the other would work. It's not to work on its own, it's to slow him down whilst we dogpile him with 100 Terminators, which is about to be my follow-up order of dogpile!
Is that when we release the gas?
The gas has been released in the vents for a while at this point.
Yeah, we've all got rebreathers because we're all wearing armor. He doesn't. It's every little advantage we can try and grab over him to take him down non-lethally.
Make him sticky.
The screams intensify. My God, he's the size of a... You hear gunfire, the whir of chainswords, the shriek of tearing metal, the rhythmic splatting of the improvised glue cannons firing off. The vents begin audibly whistling as gas is pumped through as fast and as hard as possible in this specific area. There's the sound of several heavy thumps as Terminators begin attempting to jump on something. A scream. Coayah, what are you doing at this point?
Moving my way towards the area and summoning as many of the Terminators I have assigned to this detail as I can to this area.
People are converging. You enter into a room that was once perhaps a waiting hall for the observation gallery. It is a charnel house. The armsmen who came in here are dead or dying by and large. You see a Terminator who has been not ripped apart, but their arms ripped off. They're rapidly dying. The center of the room is covered in a morass of glue. The gas is so thick and colored that it's almost difficult to see, forming a thin, hazy, translucent film over everything. And in the center, a thrashing mound of Terminators, the brave remains of what was once an armsman, until he was leapt on by another Terminator, and beneath it all, something pulsing and twitching intermittently, limbs punching out, sending entire Terminators flying.
God damn it, what does it take to put him down? Put him out, at least.
You hear a bestial roar, and the upper torso of a man punches out of the pile of Terminators, sending the Terminator on the very top flying through the roof.
God damn.
He draws one of the knives from his... Is he wearing belts on his arms? Why is... He's got so many knives! And stabs it down into another nearby Terminator. A shield flares to life and then explodes under the pressure.
God damn. More glue?
Can I action my thing I kind of wanted to do that Benji will hate?
What do you got?
I want to have gone into the vents nearby and seen if I can provide an exit for the Primarch and beckon him over. Father!
Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll let you roll for it, but you need at least 3 DOS in order to do it without Coayah immediately twigging.
I don't particularly mind if Coayah twigs.
I mean, you only asked him to go do something different, and he is doing something different.
Somewhere else was also in the order, as I recall.
I'm in the vents now.
No. I am giving Benji the same credit I gave the Emperor. If you can't get around his order of you must teach him, then you also can't get around Coayah's somewhere else. Somewhere else is not the exact same place, but very slightly off. I will take... Christ, I hate to say it. I think that's probably going to be tech use.
Oh.
It's not necessarily hard either. We'll call it tech use at... I'm sorry, Benji. We'll call it tech use at +10.
Oh. The 1 successive.
A nearby, fairly large vent cover busts off the wall. Coayah, you see an armoured fist from within and hear a cry of "Father!" Your Primarch tries to move for it, but he's more than half stuck to the glue and the morass of flailing Terminators.
I'm just going to be shouting, "More glue! More!"
Yeah, so if you imagine perhaps, call it 10, 12 Terminators, was 13 until the roof incident, sort of on and around him, and then stood around that another 4, 6 Terminators, all of them with these jury-rigged glue cannons slung under their arms, just constantly hosing down the pile.
It's like I've noticed these weird foreign glue cannons on all our Terminator armor.
Yeah, glue cannons. Someone's pumping unauthorized tranquilizer gas into your vents. Like, you've only been in these vents for a short while, and you've passed multiple dead cultists.
Oh, dear.
It's not to say the entire area is that bad, but as you narrowed down the bit that had the Primarch in, you upped the gas quotient to that area.
Whilst this is going on, I'm going to quickly vox Brother Nazeem.
Yes, brother.
Brother Nazeem, please examine Imperial records as far as you can ascertain them. Find us a prosperous and fairly well-defendable system that contains as many civilized or hive worlds as we can possibly find within it. This could be a subsector of several systems if possible, but if only a system can be found, then a system must be found. We will need to establish a large-scale void presence there. Basically, we're going to need to find a Legion a homeworld. I'm putting you in charge of this.
Very well, brother. I shall start doing that, yeah.
Really? After he called you a nerd?
I never called him a nerd to his face.
You called me a what?
Yeah, he just... You gave him some advice strongly of don't do what you're doing, you'll make him feel trapped and cornered. You didn't get a reply on the Vox at all.
I didn't say I was going to do this well, or quickly.
That's how we end up back at the ocean planet, and it's like, you know what, it seems perfect, actually.
Yeah.
We invaded that one planet that was largely ocean, right?
It's true, you did.
And we're recruiting from there currently, aren't we?
I think we are, actually, yeah.
Recruiting from quite a broad variety of worlds, yeah.
But we left a guy there, for sure, I think.
We did, yeah. One of the planetary governors, I think.
You didn't leave a. Well, I suppose you must have left a marine there, or at least a marine was sent there. Yeah, it's one of your various training outposts, but you, as with a lot of places, you don't have a home world at the moment, so you're taking.
I wasn't going to suggest Galifas was a good idea.
You're taking recruits from the solar system and also worlds
wherever we can get them.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically you exact a tithe. At the moment, one of your primary sources of recruits, at least on the go, is to exact a tithe of gene-compatible humans from worlds you pass through.
Fun fact, it's one of the reasons why quite a few legions have got several, shall we say, less than scrupulous individuals, because one of the easiest gene-compatible populations that the planet doesn't want is usually criminals.
What the planet wants matters very little when Space Marine's deciding at this point in time, unfortunately.
Oh, very true, but one of the easiest ones to get are often prisoners.
Yeah. So... just for the imagery in the other room, by the way. So Nazeem, you've been given the almighty trust of being tasked with finding a system to claim as a home world.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do anything with that now, or do you want to just start thinking on that?
I'm going to start thinking on that. That's a lot of responsibility I've been given.
God.
I'm going to preemptively rule out Psychic Dinosaur Planet.
Damn it!
Because
I'm already not in a good mood, given that I've got one of my chief Forge Lords openly trying to screw with me about the Primarch. If you walked up to me and suggested,
it's
what
just
if we put down
cop, bad
psychic,
cop. Yeah.
What if you put down that Psychic Dinosaur Planet? I will start killing people.
Meanwhilest, in that room, have you ever seen an adult with like two children hugging their legs trying to walk? So imagine that, but it's not two children, it's like 10 to 12 superhumans in a giant soup of glue and pain. And one very annoyed colossal superhuman trying to stride and making a surprising amount of progress. It's still not really quite enough, whilst visibly groggy from a ridiculous amount of heavily tranquilizing gas.
This entire session has just slayed me.
I think. Who's made the least rolls? I'm going to get a roll on behalf of the Primarch.
Probably Carl or Ollie, to be fair.
Alright, Carl or Ollie, which one of you wants to do me an odds or evens for the Primarch?
I can do it. Odds, no evens.
Oh, wait, sorry, I didn't have it clued up. That will ruin your luck.
Can we
sorry,
do it
okay,
again?
no, I'm ready to go, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, odds, no evens.
Evens!
Yep.
With one final burst of superhuman strength and rage, the Primarch tears himself free of the glue, the gas, and the flailing terminators, and throws himself into the air vent, trailing massive wads of his own skin where it's stuck to the glue.
Fuck this, I'm going after him. Someone throw me a thunder hammer.
The graviton cannons.
Seb wheels up behind you. Your thunder hammer, my lord.
Did he go into the vent with me as well?
Yeah, he's in the vent with you, angry and scared, and ready to go past you. You got a microsecond to react before you get hammered through a wall or something.
I'll make sure there's plenty of room to pass me if he wants. And I'll also be holding out ration bars in my hand, just open.
All the people with the cannons, I'm going to be calling on to follow me. Follow me. We're going to do this old school.
A nearby wall explodes as Coatlmox goes flying through it. Carrying a suspicious number of ration bars.
What would you like me to roll to pursue the Primarch?
I think that's probably going to be tracking over strength, all things considered, for like short-term sprinting and crawling and wriggling and...
Imagine that.
I don't
easy
think...
tracking test though, right?
The tracking is it's tracking because it's what's it called, following him in quick succession and not getting lost
fine.
and knowing that he'll if he gets a chance to make it a difficult thing to follow.
Okay.
I think it's also probably just you, right? Because the Terminators aren't going to be able to follow him in.
I am going to fate that.
So you've given them the cry to come after you, but I don't think they're in a good state for.
It's only 2 degrees of failure.
Should have used the graviton cannon system.
I just can't keep up with him. Fuck a duck.
Yeah, you know what? We've a lot of stuff's gone against you this session, Benji. Do you want to? How does the chase go awry? How does the Primarch lose you?
I get the idea that I've gone after him, trying to just track him down, and is thinking, his size will slow him in the vents. But he doesn't go through the vents. He just tears his way through the bulk to start tearing his way through to the next vent.
Quite a number.
And I can't.
Sorry.
I can't exactly keep up with him because if I start throwing the thunderhammer around, I risk destabilizing this area of the ship.
Exactly.
Not a big area.
Where he can move subtly, he moves subtly. Where he can't, he moves like a brick shithouse. With all the speed of a knight. Shortly after, you lose his trail. Not lose because you can't find him, but lose because you just can't keep up. He's only just about audible to you. You get panicked reports in that he's broken through the barricades. The Primarch is loose in the rest of the ship.
Oh, God damn it.
No one around to hear.
I'm going to return
the
library. I'm going to return to the main area.
I have scuttled the hell away if I'm able. I am hiding somewhere.
Am I by any chance well enough to start walking yet? And is my Terminator armor, or can I have a pair of Terminator armor that's usable?
You can have a new suit of Terminator armor brought up, and you know what? Sure, here's what we'll say, Ollie. If you want to be mobile, you can be mobile. You are not in a great state, but you have had enough drugs poured into you that you can move.
Okay, so I'm going to presume I've heard from Coayah the disastrous attempt to capture him.
Yeah, you succeeded in ripping a good deal of his skin off.
Cool, okay.
And he's definitely slowed down as well from a combination of immense amounts of tranquilizer gas, a frankly lethal dose it should have been.
It would be for a normal human or an astartes.
He's missing. It's not like he's been completely bodily degloved, but like large amounts of his skin has been just torn away.
Okay, I'm going to authorize the use of graviton cannons because I think it's the only thing that can. I genuinely think it's the only thing that can stop him because it looks like if he's going down, he might end up going through the ratings quarters, and that's a big enough hallway or lift plat to hopefully stop him with enough beams side by side.
I hate to say this, brother. I really do. I absolutely despise that I have to say these words, but unfortunately, I think Brother Nazeem's plan of feeding him brains might have to be enacted.
I thought that was happening after he was pinned in any case.
Yes, well, we might have to expedite the process. Brother Macuiltotec, or rather should I say Lord Marshal Macuiltotec, I am placing you in overall command of the operation to capture our Primarch. I have other duties to attend to.
Meanwhile, the cut to Coatlmox hightailing it out of there as fast as he can move.
Into the vents!
Do I have an idea of where...
Yes, Owen. Yes, Coatlmox is screwed, isn't he? Yes, I agree.
Are you going to put an APB out for the Forge Master?
I will become the Vent Tiger.
How did you get that name? Well, you see.
Well, first things first, I'm going to contact Kuzco. He, obviously, as leader of the consuls, is part of the official process of arresting another Marine. Yes, I am, in fact, issuing an arrest warrant for the Forge Master.
Carl, you muted.
Forge Master?
Uh-oh.
And then I would like to put in a call to Magos Drelora for Velden.
Legion Master.
When, you've probably heard, the call has gone out for the arrest of Brother Coatlmox.
Just for my reference, how public is that call for arrest? Is that
it's gone out to the security services. It's not gone out to all members of the Legion.
Okay, because it sounded like you were sending them out to just the consuls, not to the secret police or all over the ship, flashing arrest this Marine.
We're doing the secret police as well, but we're going through the consuls first to make it official.
So the secret... okay, cool. So it's going through the consuls, and then presumably the secret police are and you're on search duty for this, but you're under the consuls.
Yes. We're doing this officially.
Okay, yeah, so in that case, you can assume she's aware.
Magos Drolora for Veldin. Unfortunately, you have probably, as you are probably aware, our resident Tech Marine / Forge Lord has run afoul of his duties.
With heavy heart, I can have his forge shrine open in 10 minutes.
Which one?
I would like to have a look in there, but more than that, when he is captured, I have made at least one threat that I intend to keep, for if I do not keep my threats, what is the point of making them? He will probably be in need of some new cybernetic limbs. I would like you to fashion them for him, but when you do, I would also like a kill switch installed in each of them that I can access remotely from my own armor.
I would be ecstatic to perform this service for you, my lord.
Is Seb still there?
Yeah, shortly, just like doodling along behind her.
I'm just like shitting myself. Oh no, I've really made him mad.
Oh, this is great.
Oh, jeez, screw.
Who knew Daddy could drive us apart, so...
The Vox Call peters out. Where are we at, everyone else?
So I'm going to kind of want to belay the order of what were the goals from the Emperor again? Like, don't make it so the entire Legion knows.
Yeah, he doesn't want bad press, basically. So he doesn't want the Legion to know that his son is a feral,
whack job.
Non-human. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He wants you to quietly make something of him, and then you can announce it.
Yeah, okay, cool. So in which case then I'm going to Vox out to the to every Havoc squad, I suppose, and tell them we have a very large, very dangerous twist on the loose that has currently defeated 15 Terminators at once. I presume I've got the battle stats from Coayah. If I haven't, then
yeah, absolutely. Coayah put you in command, so you can see they're filtering in.
I am then going to authorize the use of graviton cannons on the inside of the ship to pin down the monster, the twist, wherever it is seen, and all Havoc groups are going to deploy, I think, to the they're going to come ratings quarters way, and I'm going to set up blockades here, here if possible, and here. So sort of going to keep this square cornered, and each group, I don't know, I guess I have roughly 75 to 85, maybe like, what do I have, like 85 Havoc Marines left?
At this point, I think you have as many as you want to, because there were significant reconstructions. So even though like you took significant casualties in Morrowind, one, it's been a number of years, and two, a lot of the other grand companies were so like annihilated that you can assume that you've taken like merged down a lot.
Okay, so in which case I'm going to also put another, basically large, very large squads of, I'm going to say 20 each, with orders to, as soon as they see the large twist, and I don't know, send out an image to the Havoc squad, but under direct orders not to broadcast this to any other ship, or you'll be stuck on purser duty.
It might be, well, okay, so yes, you can definitely do that. I will say, sorry, stuck on purser duty, I just heard that. Your other ships are definitely going to be aware that there's something happening. There's a disturbance on the main ship at this point. You have nothing else because you've already had one instant on the topmost primary conveyor way, and now you're putting like the ratings quarters and a lot of other major arteries into lockdown. So this is definitely, something is getting out to the rest of the fleet, but you can have a lockdown put on like the sensorial spire so that there's as little going out as possible.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. I'm also going to start evacuating the ratings quarters.
That's untenable, I'm afraid. There's nowhere to put people, and you have a crew of over 100,000.
Okay, in which case, I
guess actually in an emergency you could have people shuttle towards like one of the primary hangars, but it's
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I just have people move out the way, but it might create more issues. I don't know
if something that happens in the primary hangar that's going to cause you major problems. That said, if nothing does, then you could construct. I'm wrong. You could construct a primitive refugee camp / emergency fire drill situation in the primary hangar.
You know what I'll do, actually? I'll just ask everyone in the ratings core to sort of press themselves as far back as possible, either this way or into as far back into their quarters as they can go, or this way. So I'm trying to
issue a command for everyone to stay calm and stay indoors, and under no circumstances leave.
Think about the event.
God damn it, no.
Do not think about the vents.
Do not think about the vents. Stay calm, stay indoors. Under no circumstances leave your dwelling. Return home immediately. Do not think about the vents. That's what I'm getting from that.
Basically, yes.
Okay,
Don't think about the vents. It will cause distress.
You've started out with 100 Terminators, and it looks like you've escalated up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 20, so 160 Terminators. You've got the fleet on standby. You can have excess Terminator squads shuttled from other ground companies and such shuttled in as well. Like, if you want 160 Terminators for a full lockdown, Ollie, you can do this.
I want to do this.
So they'll get shuttled into the tertiary hangar, and you're having as many of the ratings as possible evacuated to the primary hangar, and everyone else, it's stay indoors until you're evacuated, under no circumstances leave.
I mean, I can spread the people just to have them walk along the conveyor way or something. That's a big open space, and they can. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want everyone in one space because I feel like that would just be dangerous.
Yeah, if that hangar depressurizes, you could lose tens of thousands of crew in an instant.
Exactly. Yeah, and I only I know it shouldn't. But we are in a Franken ship, and story gods, they have their own ideas sometimes.
I don't know what you mean.
So I'm setting up the blockades, and then immediate orders to switch to focus beam mode, and you pin that motherfucker. I did not refer to the primarch as a motherfucker.
You've already called him a twist.
Yeah, but that's just a cover story.
A little twinge in your heart as you do so.
Wow.
I think this is definitely going to be a role to organise this level of operation, but I also had a question that I've completely forgotten. We'll just do the roll. I think that's probably going to be command over whichever's higher of intelligence or fellowship, but we'll call it a minus 10, because you're organising the massive... The Space Marine half of things isn't actually that difficult, but the trying to minimise civilian casualties thing looks like it's going to be.
Sure, that's fine. So I've got a trained as well, so that's a plus 10, and I'm rolling at 60 or under. Yeah, I make that.
What's the toss there? 2.
2.
So, Marine squads, fresh Terminators, are shuttled in from some of the other ships, the most senior ones you can accrue. All good members of their respective Havoc companies, of course. Those who you can have evacuated, you do. Moving ratings from their quarters out to improvised digs in the primary hangar, intending to hold them there for as long as required. For everyone else, a message is blasted on repeat. Stay inside. Return home. Do not leave under any circumstances.
Do not think about the vents.
Do not think about the vents.
Lest the vents think about you.
The ship as a whole goes into lockdown. The Forge Shrine, you can hear blasting and limited gunfire from within, but nothing from without. Things get tense. For over an hour, there is no movement. Till you hear reports from the plasma drive.
Motherfucker. Cool, so what I do then is I move... one sec. I move every squad I have sort of up by one, so this one goes up here, this one stays where it is, then this one comes and takes its place here, and then...
Why don't you move one?
Yeah, you know what, I'll just move. I'll move them. Yeah,
and I get what you mean. So if you just move your rearmost X to where the frontmost squad should be, from that, it looks like you're fine.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't slip over. Okay, so this one's going to go here. This one's going to go here. this one. It's going to go here.
The drive is a crowded environment, and there's so many people working there that it's difficult to get any kind of order forced. Not to mention the fact that the work is so vital. It provides energy as well as motion to the ship, that it simply can't be put on hold.
Can you link energy between ships? So can you have one ship dock and provide power to another?
If you have docking spires, hypothetically, yes.
You have to run some big cables.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically like jumper cables for a car situation. If you have the cables for it, then yes. But one of the advantages of the Franken ship we've given you, I think, is that that's the type of thing you're sorted for.
Oh, okay. I'm going to order another ship to come into our orbit, into our I'm going to order another ship to come over and link with the docking spires, but only energy only, and start providing power to the ship as we wind down the plasma drive.
They'll definitely need to fully dock up.
Whatever needs to happen. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. And if they have their own Havoc squads, some then to ensure that no one can come up through the docking spires.
So you're going to put that ship on full quarantine and then have them dock with you?
Yes, and they can have Havoc squads, I suppose, here and here, wherever, if they have any on there. Actually, I suppose if there's a ship close enough already that was providing us with the other Terminators, they can just do that.
So, what is your hope here? Because I think you're going to keep running into issues with the vents.
So, I think the vents can only we're going to start. I think I'm going to start flooding the vents with more gas and use that to push them in a certain direction. So
you've already used the batch you had on the topmost spire.
As well, the whole reason we used the gas on the topmost spire was because we were like, we'll lose some ratings and armsmen there.
No, I know.
To try and pin him down and capture. But if we use it in a general massive area, then we're going to have no way to control the fact that we're just probably going to kill off a huge amount of... this stuff's probably lethal to Astartes if we haven't got rebreathers on. We went really high on the dose. And when I say we, I mean Carl. In full fabulous Bill mode.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Carl Dog. I'm going to ask Kuzco to make more. I know it won't be ready for an hour or so that's fine. The plasma drive, I presume we can turn off power to certain parts of it. Maybe we make part of it dark. I mean, I know we're going to have problems with the vents. Is the problem?
It is very firmly not designed for that. You can definitely do it, but the machine spirits are not going to be happy with you, and you're going to get some pretty big... it's the type of thing where if you were a Magos, even though there's a decent chance you'd get shot in the face for it, or at least, disciplined or busted, you'd probably protest strenuously if someone told you turn off.
In which case, then we can't do that. In which case, then
I to be strictly fair, you can and you have the authority to do so, but you're going to get heavy complaints from the people who live their lives in and around the drives.
That's okay. I won't do that then. So I don't think we can necessarily deal with the vent problem. So far we can't get enough people in the vents. We can't glue the vents up. We can't reinforce them enough. We can't put enough people in them unless we have a crew of 2 Terminators to a side, but 30 deep, traveling through them. But
you can't even get Terminators in the vents at the moment.
In which case, it's almost... I think it's there's no point even thinking about the vents. If he can get in there and he's just about squeezing in there, and he's destroying them as he's going through, all we can do is really follow him. So maybe then I'll have a squad of ratings, keep very far back, and follow his trail of destruction, or multiple squads even, and have that being used to generate an idea of where he is. And then we can position Terminators at likely exit points. Fair. If he decides to come out. And we can use that to create an ever-shifting, updating automatic map of where he is and where we can potentially pin him down.
Interesting. I think on that was probably a good spot to call it for the week, right? So that's definitely a plan to note. We'll take it for next week.
Neat.
Okay. Does anyone have any reminders for next session? Anything they want noted?
Shoot Creed's arms off!
Hide. Roll. Go on.
A reminder for everything I just said, which was have ratings follow his trail of destruction a while back. which then gives us an idea of likely exit points, so we can then put enough Terminator squads with graviton cannons to pin him. And then we force brains in his mouth.
I want to... It might be a bit long for a reminder. I'll add it in my notes. I want to acquire 2 data slates. One with a rough ship map, one of my personal ones if I've made any of the events, and one with any high Gothic lessons we might own. I figure we might own some from complying other worlds.
Yeah, they'd definitely be in the library. In fact, you have a... what's it called? What is his name? Begins with an I.
Iterator?
Iterator, thank you. You have an iterator. He's on here somewhere.
Is he really good at iterating
Here we
stuff?
go. Primary iterator Zabo Glenn Harris.
I'm going to keep up with my olive branch method.
Is your guy, and it is in fact his job to educate new people and worlds into the Imperial truth.
Oh, what was his name?
Primary iterator Zabo Glenn Harris. You've had him before. If you remember, you put him on Diplo duty that time he had to hold down a world for you.
Oh.
Can I have standing orders as well? Yeah, to as much as I do enjoy Coatlmox, I can't have him interfering with this plan.
I presume I would have let you know that I'd also placed an APB out for the arrest of
I'm assuming,
to have you. It's perfectly fine for that. Okay, cool. So
yeah, I'm fully prepared for any consequences should I get caught beforehand, but I shall be event man.
That's fine. We shall
we're
pin
event people now.
My current plan is that if I befriend the Primarch, maybe he can pardon me by the time he takes power.
You're going to get pardoned anyway, just with limbs that have kill switches.
Yeah, that's what I don't want.
And yeah, standing, I have reminders, as much as it pains me to say, Terminators see Coatlmox, he is to be pinned.
Use the glue cannon.
Yeah, well, if we have the glue cannon still on some of the Termies, then yeah. Otherwise, pin him with the graviton cannons. With 2, I think he might be able to get through 1. I have a strong suspicion a Terminator armor can probably push through that beam. So 2's probably good enough.
He's not wearing Terminator armor. He wears power armor. He's not even wearing his harness at the moment because he's been squeezing.
I would have been in Termi armor. Generally. I'm always.
You wouldn't have been fitting in the vents.
Yeah, exactly. We've not been.
I live in the vents, though, right?
Yeah, but the Terminator armor is still bulky. I would say, to be strictly fair, we've not let anyone else in Terminator armor be in Terminator armor whilst they're in the vents.
Can I not have made some infrastructure over my time, considering how much I love my Termi armor?
If you want to have really heavily restricted movement, I could see that in some areas, but by default, you cannot just use the vents whilst wearing Termi armor.
All right.
But also, you're a tech marine anyway. Your harness fits to power armor. Not that we've been having you as wearing your harness at the moment, but meh.
I think you do get Tech Marines and Terminator armor.
No, we've had this discussion previously. The only people who have it at any point are Iron Warriors, and it's generally a custom rig that they have sorted.
Iron Hands as well, do.
I can see Iron Hands as well. I mean, I've not seen that, but I would fully believe it. But yeah, so
it's the Iron Father from 30k. Sorry.
So you could potentially get a rig sorted, but it's not a thing that comes as standard. But I'm sure the Magistrates would be happy to help you out.
Right, well, I guess I would have had my venting armor on.
I mean, that I could definitely see if you have vent armor.
I've been muted on Discord for longer than I thought.
Yeah, we told you earlier when the content thing came up, but
I had gone up at that point.
You see, that's what I was thinking, is that you were off doing something and I don't want to interrupt.
And I got back and had completely forgotten, so I've been muted since then. And I was why is no one responding?
Oh, sorry, Carl. Well, you've been put in charge of the manhunt for Cread.
But yeah, 2 things. If we're still doing reminders, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know if I interrupted in the middle of one. It was just one of those oh son of a bitch sort of moments.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Conspiracy.
Sorry, was I interrupting anyone's
If you were, I've forgotten. So
yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. So order consoles to actively pursue APB. and stay in apothecarium making gas.
Yeah. We should really keep that recipe around for later as well. That can be useful when we find those. What was it? Legion 6 was it?
Well, the sticky stuff should be pretty useful as well. If you think you fit that in a twin stream, so you're firing What? Shut up. But you know, like you have a flamer. It's got two things it's firing at the same time. It's firing Promethium from one stream and then the sticky stuff from the other to make like grimdark napalm.
That would be terrible.
I mean, napalm's already pretty grimdark as well.
You can just use Promethium.
Is Promethium sticky though?
Depending on the Promethium, it can be, but it's a weird sci-fi superfuel. It does a lot of things depending on what you want it to do and where you mine it from.
I think I've often seen it described as a gel.
Yeah, it definitely can come in gel form. They also have like better equipment. Basically, if that's the type of weapon you would already have access to, you don't need your weird jury-rigged glue to then be marketed as a... I mean, you can keep using it, though I think it's probably not great to, like, ammo-wise, because there's... sorry.
On that note, can I have tech crimes have occurred under Coayah's watch?
Are we really going down this route?
It's just additional leverage if I need it later.
It's kind of what I mean.
It's thoroughly funny if everyone notes the crimes that happened under everyone else's watch, because now we're long past young Nicholas's time in the spotlight as commander, which means that he will be remembered as a golden age of not that many problems happening compared to the long list of recorded crimes later on.
Yeah, but I'm the official police force commander, or captain, or chief, or whatever you want to say. I would have to deal with this shit unless you went to a higher power. But we hate the custodies. Fuck those guys.
Yeah. Fuck those
I do
guys.
find it a hilarious thought of complaining to the Primarch in a year's time about that one time Nick, did something, but the Primarch's but you were just a Space Marine squaddy back then. It literally doesn't matter.
Look, I'm just gonna be calling Malcador after we've got him corralled and asking for him to send some daycare equipment.
I still think my plan might slowly but surely work. Granted, we might lose the ship and crew conditions, but eventually he should obtain.
So far, you've caused a lot more damage to the ship than he has. Any other reminders?
I haven't damaged the ship much.
No, you.
I think it was a royal. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Carl. Sorry. Any other reminders?
He's in the plasma drive. He's in the plasma drive.
There was a point early on where you almost drove him through the skin of the ship, which would have been quite funny. As you wouldn't have seen that happen, but it would have registered that, wait a second, why are we venting atmosphere? Oh god! I was ready for it, but...
Maybe we could vent him, and then we pick him up in a remote-controlled, dropship. And we just have it flying around our ship. There's nothing to say he won't stay in that, though.
Any other reminders? Okay. Cool. Looking forward to it. Feedback. Anything you liked, anything you disliked, anything you'd like to see more of or less of next time?
Less betrayals by my battle brothers.
Yes, I apologise if this is counterproductive. I've picked my path now.
Yeah. I'm getting what's the word I'm looking for? I've not been able to get a bead on his power level so far. I know it's strong. It does seem
over 9,000.
Yeah, over 9,000. It does seem a bit strange that he's able to take over 15 Terminators, because that's several tons of active armor fighting against you. But then again, I don't know Primarchs as well as you guys. And they are.
We only in character have one reference point for how Primarchs are supposed to be at this point, and that's Horus, who is Golden Daddy's special boy. And the stories we've heard about him are presumably he is incredible.
I mean, even out of character. Out of character. To me, it seems a little bit unbelievable that he can shrug off, glue and 15 Terminators.
You've got to remember, Primarchs are basically built to be psychers. They're not real people. They're basically Emperor created greater demons.
Exactly.
Sure. So that's fine. It's only because I don't know them well enough.
Okay, yeah, fair. So keep that in your head. Is that you're not necessarily like obviously not you. We don't know this in character, and most of the primarchs don't know this in character. But you're not dealing with someone where it's just the muscle under their skin. You're dealing with something that's as much a tiny piece of technically chaos god as it is anything else.
That's fair enough. Wait, does the God Emperor count as a tiny bit of chaos god, or did he nix some chaos?
He makes a deal where he functionally does. Like, he kind of
it's unclear what happens on Molech, but something happens, and then he can make the primarchs.
Yeah.
So they're basically Emperor greater demons.
It's if you think of it as at the moment from the info we have, think of it as an implied Prometheus situation. He also that's the time where he gets his like weird Mimo vision that people see him with. Before that, he doesn't have it. At least not to the same degree. Still a very powerful psyker, not the same level.
There's this whole... No one's quite sure what happens with the Emperor, but something happens on Molech, and then the Emperor goes all big Papa E.
Yeah.
And he makes the Primarchs.
So,
there's contention.
It wasn't really like a complaint against the story or anything.
It's entirely fair to ask for clarification there, I think. And also, if it helps, it wasn't a straight 15 versus 1 fight. It was like they were trying to dogpile him, and there was the glues. They were as much struggling against each other as anything else. Yeah, and then on top of that, I didn't necessarily have him at this level of hench originally, but we've had the combination of he's no longer motion sick for the first time in his life. And then on top of that, the rapidly growing realization that we have engineered circumstances for the world's most hench Primarch. He has spent literal decades doing nothing but full body swimming and subsists, by all accounts, entirely off of
protein.
Yeah, off of the protein that he gets from aquatic monster Godzilla creatures on the ocean planet where he literally can't sleep.
Look, all we're saying is Ferrus Manus is no longer the most hench Primarch.
I feel like this guy must intentionally let himself be swallowed by leviathans so he can sleep at night. And then the digestive juices do nothing and he bursts out of them by eating them from the inside out.
You've got to
actually plausible.
You've got to assume it's happened, and tragically you've got to assume it's happened on more than one occasion. It's probably the highlight for him.
Right?
If that helps conceptualize the level of... It's essentially you accidentally. Well, the Emperor's accidentally wound up in a situation where he's put the brain of the brain of just a feral monster human in the body of a literal, not metaphorical demigod.
I love the idea. So it is now my headcanon that in order to sleep, he would let himself be swallowed by various monsters and spend the night inside them.
Or find those.
I love it.
Cling to them like a barnacle or something. There's a variety of but he's got to go to pretty extreme circumstances to get a little bit of rest. So, any other feedback?
I like getting enough rope to hang ourselves.
I've really been enjoying it. I've been looking forward to this campaign for the longest time as well, for the record. I did this map ages ago and I've been so happy with it. I've also been, I will say, really happy with everyone's yes-anding and going with the give and take. As Ollie mentioned, the Primarch's power level can essentially be summarized as bullshit. That is how they play. And it's been lovely hearing people going, wait, fuck, okay, cool, so he is bullshit, but we have to keep trying. There's got to be things we can do. And I've been really...
There has to be something.
Exactly.
Also, implicitly, he might still be mortal in some way, and we don't want to hit that limit of, shit, we might kill him.
Exactly.
We can't just fire plasma guns at him until he stops moving.
So I've been really, really enjoying listening to the various plans. I'm so sad I didn't get more of the planning pre-sesh stuff on the recording. Really happy listening to that. Really happy listening to the give and take. Really happy with the quiet, subtle, but not super PvP sabotage of each other. Cread going with his own thing. Ollie insisting that no, we're definitely using graviton cannons. Getting overruled by Coayah, and then coming back with doing it. Well, okay, I'm in charge now anyway, and you're off doing weird APB things. We're back to the graviton cannons, boys.
I have seen how glue-based weaponry works, and I am unimpressed.
Not to mention the in-character power struggles as well between various people. Beautiful.
I feel bad for my termies who are there, who in the Havoc Squad, who were there and weren't able to pin him. With guns, they had to pin him with themselves. and it did not work.
Yeah,
I can't help but think the entire time they were thinking, we have guns that do this.
Yes, definitely. And Coayah explicitly had a mix of tactical and havoc. He got whoever he could get there in time, and then also no more than that, so that keeping it to a minimum. Because if it went well, you'd have him locked down in that tower, and you would have managed things. I also did roll for him a bit, for the record, actually. So if he failed more dramatically for the bit he did fail, then you would have been in better straits.
Right, I gathered that.
I'm going to come clean about I didn't really have a continuation of the plan beyond glue Primarch to floor to stop him moving around.
It worked for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was working, and then it didn't work. But when it was working, like, it was fine. Again, I didn't really have a plan beyond glue the Primarch to the floor to stop him moving.
It kind of helped with my good cop angle.
Actually, that reminds me for a reminder. I want to message our honoured Magos and ask for the stronger glue, please. I don't care about his skin anymore.
Oh no, you already got the skin glue. The stronger glue is the stuff that's, if you squirt it in his eyes, they'll melt.
Be
suspect. We don't actually know.
Yeah. You took, goddammit, Carl. You took a good deal of his skin off. Between that and the wrestling Terminators, he's not looking like a barnacle Adonis anymore. He's looking like a man who's had a good deal of his skin ripped away. But he is at least much easier to track, and more monstrous looking. There's way less chance of him being mistaken for a Primarch now.
So what you're saying is...
Sorry, Carl?
I was going to say, so what you're saying is we actually did a good thing.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. If he'd failed that, what's it called, the odds no evens test, then he wouldn't have been like captured firmly, you've definitely got him, boys. But he would have been at least temporarily subdued enough for you to move on to another stage.
Which was probably just going to be forcing brains into his mouth.
An unspoken word. The first person who mentions that we did this to Nazeem gets shot in the head.
I just love the idea of all the command staff approaching this mountain of glue, giant, and Terminators. Everyone's groaning and being like drawing straws to see who's going to climb it first. To start spoon feeding the Primarch brains.
Dear. So, narrative questions. Anything anyone was narratively unsure of in that session? Is everyone following the plot?
I think I've had all my questions answered.
Cool. In that case, let's do some exploit. Plot progression. Does anyone feel like made plot progression this session?
Does removing the Primarch skin count as plot progression?
I would say yes. Okay, just about, because you were told to make sure that this doesn't become a big scandal, right? And that actually has... If he was just running around naked and looking, extremely ripped, people... Primarchs have, an aura about them as part of the weird demigod angle, so people might have put two and two together. It's not impossible. Now that he's been, maimed all to shit, that's way less likely. So I will give that for you. Your cover story has gotten better.
So I like the fact he's gone from looking ripped to both looking and being ripped.
You fucking twat.
Jesus.
Can I get slightly acclimatized him to the Legion?
I was going to say,
he ate a ration bar and picked up a sword.
Yeah, and is clothing himself. That's teaching him something at the very least. Not necessarily anything good, but...
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
I was going to say that we actually executed the plans. Most of them were in a stage of execution.
Yeah, I think that's fair. A lot of plans were executed. And not in a, how could you possibly fail? A lot of those, everyone knew they were 60-50% success chance plans going in and gambled on them anyway. A dogpile of plans, if you will.
Turns out our Legion is all about numbers. Overwhelming numbers.
It does really seem to be your forte half the time.
What was that expression? Let loose the dogs of war, and we just keep letting them loose, and we don't stop letting them loose for hours?
Until we have no dogs left.
Yeah. Let loose the dogs of war until the kennels are empty.
Yes, the ancient battle song, Who Let the Dogs Out.
I read the other day that no one actually quite knows where that song comes from. The version we all know is a cover of a cover times 8. And it comes from some advert back in the 40s, but that's not the original. They just don't know what the original one is. They just know it was a copy.
Old folk song. Clearly it was sung in the medieval period. Character developments. Anyone feel like they developed a character this session? And if so, how?
I feel I've kind of developed in terms of, Kuzco has developed in terms of, like, the shady past is, like, it's still shady, but it's, like, in terms of trying to be good again, he's, like, making good of the terrible things that he's done in sort of, like, a semi-recompense sort of angle.
Yeah, I really like that. It was such a small justification. I was all prepared for, like, oh, how are you supposed to know the dosages? Yeah, superhuman physique. And then you come in there with the, oh, well, actually, I have studied this. I spent time studying this. I ruined a number of relationships studying this. I moved away from studying this for a reason. But I remember studying this.
As a side note, I find this terrifying. Your capabilities of just making anti-astartes gas like that. It's like, oh.
It's nearly anti-primarch.
Quickly.
It's nearly anti-primarch, and you did it in an
slow
hour.
Him down. Remember, primarchs aren't invulnerable.
Just batched up some primarch
to a certain point.
And
yet.
Also worth noting, he's adrenaline all to shit right now. Almost certainly. This is not calm Primarch. This is not Primarch had the trank gas snuck into the vents whilst he was asleep Primarch. This is fight or flight mode Primarch.
You know, once demons start becoming a thing, I kind of want Carl to start, like, loading this gas into shells, and we bombard planets with this, and then we go down and fight, and just see what happens.
Some kind of
virus
bomb. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything to demons.
They don't breathe, so it doesn't do anything.
My thinking was,
someone will want a virus bomb at some point.
My thinking is that if Primarchs are you know, greater demons,
they're not equivalent to demons.
Okay, fair enough. I do like
demons was an analogy.
Yeah, you can't use, like, faith against them. They're not more vulnerable to fire. Actually, saying that, the burning up on re-entry thing. And they do. Like... The only times we see them die, it's often to melee weapons. I say they're not, but there's a weird amount of symmetry between the sources of things that actually damage them and the things.
No, it's because they can still take, like, critical damage from ranged weapons. At one point, Lorgar gets super badly wounded from a Warlord Titan turning all its guns on him, and just blasting the shit out of him with plasma weapons.
Yeah, well, that would kill anyone, though. It should do.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
I think the melee thing.
We mostly see the melee thing because it's cool.
Yeah, I'm
two people
saying,
fighting rather than someone just shooting them.
But that's Watsonian versus Doylean, right? The Watsonian reason, the Doylean reason is it's cool, so that's why you see it more. The Watsonian reason is, actually, now Ollie mentions it, there is a weird amount of symmetry between the ways that verifiably kill them and the things that actually kill demons. I'm not saying I'm 100% buying into it, but I retract my I think Ollie's wrong because I actually don't know if he is.
I'm going to say no, because hexagrammic wards don't work on them, but they do work on demons.
I'm not saying it's a completely one-to-one. Anywho, let's call pace. Any other character development?
Coayah keeps going insane.
Yeah, I've kind of temporarily gone rogue.
I was going to say, I feel like I've assumed commands from exhausted Coayah. That I've done what I'm looking for. Assumed more command?
Yeah, assumed command is
getting closer to your intended goal.
Yeah, but in a tragic way, right? They're like, you're not winning it from Coayah in glorious, haha, I'm triumph. You're winning it from Coayah in Coayah is beat down by the responsibilities of life and being the only sane man. And you kind of seem to know that, and are equal parts happy that, yeah, I'm in charge, and also, man, burden of leadership sucks.
This is literally why I appointed you the Lord High... What do I call it? Lord High Marshal? I was like, look, you do the military shit, I'll keep this group of crazed murderers together as a legion.
Excellence of roleplay. Does anyone feel like anyone else roleplayed particularly well this session?
Cread was excellent with his event guide. And Cole's, again, like the whole... I used to torture people, that's how I know things. I thought that was like a wonderful little moment.
I put redemptive as the comment there, and I don't know if it's strictly speaking redemption, right? Reformed, I guess, is probably better.
Yeah.
He never made amends to the people he cripplingly tortured, but he did stop doing it.
He claims.
No, he's stopped doing it.
I haven't done it for a while.
Yeah. The worst that he's done is strongly support Nazeem quietly doing horrible things and enable that. But to be fair, strictly speaking, almost everyone has enabled Nazeem at one point or another.
I at least have a Tattletale kill switch. Sorry.
What was that, Creed?
So I at least have a Tattletale kill switch. The information that gives is mainly intended to be on whatever Nick's been transporting, because that concerns me the most.
That's true as well. When I do come to cut your limbs off, you do always have the thing to play of, well, aren't you interested to see what Nazeem's been getting up to?
Got some cards. I've got some options.
I love the idea that you're going to try it. Oh, sorry. Carl?
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, in terms of roleplay, Benji has been quite consistent with his steadily descending into madness while trying to maintain a stiff upper lip.
Fair. Any other excellence of roleplay? Nope. Cool. In that case, I make that out to be rough calc. Yeah, that's an easy 190 experience for session number 28. It's 30 points of plot progressions, the twist cover story, teaching the primarch several new things, and the planned dogpile going ahead. 30 points character development, that's Kuzco making use of his shady past for good reasons, Coatlmox goes rogue for dad, and Mackie continues to assume command from an exhausted Coayah. And 30 points excellence of roleplay, that's Creed's vent shenanigans, Kuzco's reformed ways and backstory, and Coayah's steadily descending into madness whilst trying to maintain a stiff upper lip. Plus your standard 100 general.
What was that total, sorry?
190. Which brings us on to everyone's favourite part of the session. It's the highlights. Benji, do you have any highlights for that session?
Creed's real obvious call to event.
Like you can see his power arm and his power gloved hand.
Maybe that's why he hasn't killed you so far as well, because you're actually just wearing normal power armor rather than termy armor.
Oh yeah, I mean if you're even wearing your vent. Oh no, he's been killing a lot of regular people. But yeah, maybe he just likes the look of your vent armor.
Ooh, shiny. I mean, he seems to have developed a sense of fashion.
I mean, sudden plot twist if your Primarch's not a power armor fan. Power armor's for cowards and nerds. Any other highlights, Benji?
No, I've not been paying a huge amount of attention to the little details. I've had a baby shouting at me a lot of the time.
Entirely fair.
He's been trying to join in, I think.
Yeah, no, I heard. He tried to discipline Coatlmox on a number of occasions. I, for one, support Owain's rise to control the Legion.
It did seem like gurgling when I was doing my plan, so I'm taking that as agreement. That's how I'm taking it.
Cool. Ollie, any highlights for that session?
Apologies to the vent cults in the area. I just thought that was a great line. I think it's Carl maybe who said that?
Yeah, that was... they're probably dead now.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but yeah.
There's plenty of them.
Creed's consistent... what's the word I'm looking for? No, I can't think of it. I'm trying to do a fun alliteration, and so I'll let Creed have it because I can't think of the alliteration I want to use. Yeah, I think actually that's all I've got so far. You might have to come back to me later, actually.
Okay. Creed, any highlights?
Cry out of one eye, orders from the other.
That's just what Coayah's doing rather than me right now. Why do all my friends betray me?
Any other highlights, Creed?
Kuzco's terrifying anti-astartes capabilities.
It was within hours that he was brewing up a gas capable of knocking you out. Admittedly, I think that was more about him being roughly confident in how much he needed to put in, but also thinking how much he can get away with without probably killing. But still, yeah. Any other highlights?
The dogpile, the primarch. Love the method old Terminator dogpile.
Glue hardens. The Terminators are now glued together.
No, that was
out of there.
If they're in Terminator armor, they'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll just be fine for quite a while. Any other highlights?
that was it for me.
Fair. Nicholas, do you have any highlights for that session?
Yes. Where is it? Father!
Fair. Anything else?
I told you brains was a good idea.
No one has said that it's not a bad idea so far.
Last session.
It's actually, there's been, you missed about 20 minutes of discussion pre-session.
Okay.
In which Benji and Carl went to great lengths to try and justify some way to not go with the brains plan. Entirely reasonably. I see why they don't want to. And even with everything they had, it's still centered around a central tentpole of commit treason.
I'd like to say that too. You can't deny my logic then.
Tragically.
And I will.
There are perhaps other ways around, but
You can't deny my logic.
Any other highlights here, Nicholas?
No, I think that's about it, thanks.
Cool. Carl, do you have any highlights for that session?
Yes, I have several. Apothecarium rules with a Z.
Damn it.
What not to do when confronted with a feral beast.
Part 1. Do not pin them, do not trap them in a small space.
Yes, we can find.
On the note of small spaces, Lady Admec's cage can't contain the girth.
God damn it.
Our Primarch is indeed big chungus.
That's a good one. I'll add that on to the end. The white goo isn't good for the skin.
God damn it. Anything else?
Realisation that Primarch is gigachad. That's it.
What's even happening at this point? God damn it, Carl. You've been sat in the background, quiet, rage.
You know, I kind of love it, actually, because you think, like, because all the fucking other Primarchs can turn out and be like, I'm king shit at this world, what the? That.
As you watch the individual neck biceps on your Primarch twitch with barely contained rage and animalistic fury.
Lehman Russ thinks he's the muscular Primarch, he ain't got shit on.
And we've got, like, on our Primarch, there's muscles on muscles, bitch.
Literally, he's got shellfish attached to him, although not anymore.
Stare deep into
like, fucking barnacle scrapers going on.
Dear. I wrote gigachad. Any other highlights, Carl?
That's it, thank you.
Cool. Ollie, do you have any other highlights?
Yeah, so Terminator Mountain.
Anything else?
Betrayal from the Vents. And it's a toss-up between, remember that time we removed all our Primarch skin, or pinned Primarch peeled?
Yeah, I like pinned Primarch peel, personally.
Let's go for that one then.
And I'm going to go ahead and...
I do have two more.
Oh, yeah.
I've come up with. Our Magos is not only a heretek, but an Omnissiah-forsaken simp as well.
Omnisimp.
She was simping so fucking hard for Primarch.
Daddy.
Yeah, there were moments where it's just like, is she gonna, like, just start gushing?
Yeah, probably. But, yeah, god damn. and everyone is afraid that the 15-foot tall killing machine now has a small knife.
It wasn't the knives at the end that was the problem.
It was literally the fact that everyone was just there like, oh my god, he has a weapon. It's like, it's a 15-foot tall killing machine who's ripping through bulkheads with his bare hands.
Like, the
But
problem
he's
for
got
me
a
in that
knife.
was that he was learning.
Yeah, I think it's like when the velociraptors learn how to open the door in Jurassic Park. It's less the action and more what it suggests about what's happening with the situation.
Right?
You know, I would much rather be fighting 15 velociraptors right now. Much, much rather. You know what? I say it. 15 Crutox. Just shoot them in the butts and
God damn it. That was a great Narlock.
Crutox in the vent. Thought you ought to know.
Ah, yes. My favourite of all the Thousand Sons, Professor Quirrell. Any other highlights, Benji?
No, that was two I had.
And then, fuck, what was my one going to be? I had a whole thing. I do. I'm pretty sure it's a quote, but I forget exactly who from. It's put an APB out on the Forge Master.
Oh, that was me.
Cread really banks on this guy learning enough High Gothic to give him that pardon that he's really going to need.
Well, first you've got to introduce him to the concept of language, then you've got to introduce him to the concept of who you are, how you relate to the rest of the structure.
Maybe I
then
can
what
just
you've
squirrel
done.
him away to one of my hideouts and teach him myself. Then I'll have the primarch.
Don't forget he also doesn't understand right and wrong at the moment.
I have another highlight to add. Sorry, just this one last one.
Yeah.
Group head cannon that our Primarch sleeps by intentionally being swallowed by leviathans.
Was it like Jonah? The story?
Yeah,
Yeah, Jonah's the one
Yeah,
who
Jonah,
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you all for a very entertaining session number 28. Likely to be a fairly short campaign, this one. I don't imagine we're going to go the full 10 sessions, but I think we can get somewhere between 3 and 5 out of it. We'll see how it goes.
I'm not sure how we got from basically the watery version of Robin Williams from Jumanji into gigachad, basically the human embodiment of this guy fucks.
We have debarnacled him, so
yeah, but it's just like that was a whole fucking turn.
Like, it was just like the building up of realizations about certain aspects of it. It's like, wait a second, but what about this? Oh god, and what about that? And, oh, we didn't even think about the other thing.
I, personally, am really enjoying getting to use a Primarch who, there's an element of my character building in there and, like, how I wanted to run him, but also a lot of it is just how you've roleplayed. This is the composite being that spawned you, created by your own actions.
And it's a monster I would kill in a heartbeat if I hadn't been ordered by the Emperor to keep him alive.
Anyone got any final words for the recording?
Gigachad, Dad?